Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Nostalgic.
And I'm RareWarington.
And welcome to a new episode of Kooky Questions. This is the first Kooky Questions episode for the Kooky Crew channel. We have a lot to talk about today. So what is going to be the bulk of our conversation today, Sam?
So today we're going to be talking a lot about the recent Nintendo Direct, kind of revealing and showcasing the Switch 2, as well as a couple new first-party games, third-party games, just a lot of exciting stuff. And we asked you guys a lot of questions. Some of our Kooky questions got quite a response. So we're going to be discussing that today and the details about the Direct. And yeah, should be fun.
It should be. And we also have two guests from our Kooky Crew on the line here as well. First of all, we do have a Gothic Teddy Bear of Donkey Kong Freedom fame. How are you doing there today?
Excellent. I'm so glad to be here with you all again. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And we also have the amazing Jiggy Lookback. How's it going?
Oh, it's going fantastic. Let's talk about Switch 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you check out the description of this, you can find links to both their channels. Be sure to check out their content. They have a lot of just great stuff there. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right in. First, we have we posted questions on multiple platforms, including Twitter, Blue Sky, our own Discord. Speaking of which, you can join the Kooky Crew Discord. That's also included in the link in the description there, and also a YouTube post. I also wanted to acknowledge the chat that we have Super Josh XT, hello, welcome, and Rare Fox saying hello to you as well. Great to have you here as always. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive in with our first question, being what are some of your highlights and our criticisms of the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct? And first up here, we have PBJ Japril just says, to me, outside of the obvious highlight of Bananza, the biggest thing was just meeting the expectations. Launching a new console and making that exciting is hard to do, and it feels like they really rose to the task of making a new Switch feel like a worthwhile purchase. The biggest disappointment has not been clear about prices and other details. I don't care that games went up in price, but them trying to trickle out prices and detail information after the actual show has caused a lot of unnecessary confusion and misinformation. And man, that's really been a lot of the ballgame as far as like how, Switch, the Switch relic and the afterwards with the price and such, for sure.
Yeah, I have to agree. And yeah, I mean, as far as like the price of the individual games go, PBJ April, or April as she's known, she's really a great like analytical member of like the Rare Nintendo community. And I mean, she's got a pretty positive take here. I gotta be honest, I do care that the game prices went up personally.
Yes.
But like as far as the Direct on a whole, I definitely see eye to eye with her. But I definitely feel like the prices and not being clear about those other details she mentions was probably for sure the biggest loss of wind in Nintendo's sales for the Direct there, in my opinion.
It definitely was. And you had some, you want to chime in there a bit, Gothic?
Oh yeah, I thought about that too, and like the idea of the sales. In fact, how they sort of played coy about it until I don't even think they announced the price during the actual Direct presentation itself. I think like it was sort of an afterthought, and even like there was some like receptiveness on behalf of the marketing department of Nintendo, especially NOA. Like I noticed on one of their advertisements, they wouldn't even list the price. They just said coming June 5th, and there was this big empty blank slate underneath it where the price should be listed. And also they took down on their Twitter, the X account, where it used to say we're listening to. I don't know if it had anything to do with like the drop the price sort of hashtag, de facto campaign that people have been pushing, especially in the spamming of the comments section. But they took it down, and a lot of people like they memed it, but also it's like, it's definitely adjusted for inflation. I see why prices have gone up, especially for a first-party caliber like Mario Kart World being as big as it is. But it's still kind of like disorienting to me to see like it go up as exponentially as it has. And now the idea that a $60 game is considered a discount, it's like, well, I mean, I know that inflation's gone up, but that doesn't mean that two people have, two nickels to rub together as often as they would 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Jiggy, you wanted to chime in with your thoughts on the prices there really quick?
Yeah, I'm gonna say first off, I was pleased. I guess pleased probably isn't the right word. I was very like, okay, that's a fine price point for the actual Switch console itself.
Mm-hmm.
I thought $450. I'm like, I was expecting it to be somewhere on the $400-$450 mark, and I was really hoping it wouldn't go any higher than that. So I was pretty happy with that. I think the game prices being, $70, from what we've seen objectively, aside from Mario Kart, feels pretty just industry, like following the trends. It doesn't really affect me too much, but I will say I am not understanding why Mario Kart is $80, and that's concerning to me. That's the only thing that's like a red flag to me. I'm like, this feels like Nintendo kind of pushing the boundary a little bit, trying to wiggle up and be like, well, we think our game is worth $80. And be like, well,
can you explain why?
okay.
Yeah.
Why? I almost thought that the physical edition was $80 because maybe it came with like a wheel or something initially. I was like, oh, maybe they're including like some sort of controller accessory in the box or something. But now it sounds like we're lucky if the game's actually in the box.
Yes.
But-
Gosh, that's a whole other topic right there for sure.
Yeah.
Wanted
I
to.
just,
Can it play games?
that's my only concern.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
wanted to
would agree
acknowledge.
there. I will say too, though, like Gothic and like EBG April kind of touched upon it. Also, like just the amount it went up, I guess. Like, and Jiggy just talked about like $80. I feel like Rockstar Games has like a telescope right now, and they're just looking over at the Nintendo Direct, being like, "Oh, interesting! Like, you can make your own."
We'll
value."
raise you.
Yeah,
Here we
but
go again.
we'll see how this plays out.
Definitely. Want to acknowledge we have Imaginator in the chat. It looks like a new person in the chat. And yes, this is a pretty new channel. We started this one up just a couple of months ago. We're glad you're here. Also, Milkdud, you've been supporting just this content, this cookie content for quite a while, and we always appreciate you joining the streams and answering our questions. I wanted to go ahead and also move on to Banana Meteor, great artist over on Twitter and Blue Sky there. Highlight DK 3D platformer, The Dream. New Kirby Air Ride, Silksong appearance, it's a meme, but I crave its release. Long section dedicated to paid voice chat, something we can and just will use elsewhere. Welcome Tour is paid DLC for some reason. Yeah, there's a lot to go over there for sure.
Yeah, and shout out to Banana Meteor. Like I've commissioned her before. She's a fantastic artist, really cool member of like the Rare and like otherwise Nintendo communities. But yeah, definitely have to agree there. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
Oh, for sure. My biggest critique from the whole Nintendo Direct were two of the things that they mentioned. The paid voice chat, or not the fact that it's paid voice chat, but just the fact that they focused on voice chat as like this huge feature, and it was like 5 minutes of the presentation.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
this shows Nintendo's focus. I'm like, 5 minutes worth of this presentation is on a basic game feature we've had for 15, 20 years.
Discord.
I'm like, I'm like, it's Discord, and it looks like they're highlighting the video streaming, right? Which is a cool idea. But at the same time, the streams look like they're like 480p. They're running at really, really bad frame rates.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not realistically going to be using this. I don't know. Maybe it'll run better if there's only 2 people. But I'm looking at this too from this perspective, okay? I'm looking at the game chat. I'm looking at the camera that they also highlighted, which they get some cool use out of it, but it feels very gimmicky. But I'm looking at these things. The way they highlighted it in the Direct is going to be the best of the best, like, situation. This is people that are well lit. This is the best possible internet connection that they could have hardwired in. This is their demo, right, to sell it. And it did not do a very good job of selling it to me. It's not that I don't want it. It's just that I'm like, this doesn't look that great. And then the welcome tour just being paid for was like a joke. I don't know what they're thinking with that.
I don't get what they're thinking. It's only
it.
$10. It's like, you just put it in there. It's
Only $10. Well, guess what I'm not paying $10 for?
Seriously. And like, we want to acknowledge also Justin Tendall in the chat. Please, I mean, everyone who's in the chat, check out his content. He's a great member of the Donkey Kong community. Just some great content, especially on that front. And want to move on here to Breadbug. Sansa here just highlights Dry Bones and Wiggler returning in Mario Kart World, DK Bananza, Chibi Robo and NSO, and Silksong charging money for a console tech demo, and no Pikmin Switch 2 edition with the new Game Plus. I was a little bit surprised by that, actually, just thinking about Pikmin 4. I imagine that there could be a Switch 2 edition coming for that and a number of other Switch games. But yeah, Chibi Robo and NSO. I haven't played much of that game, so I'm looking forward to trying that out.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with a lot of those inclusions, and like that's another tally mark for the charging money for console tech demo. So like I mean during Direct, I literally said out loud, I'm like, Pack-in, it's a Pack-in title, and then they end it with like this subtle little, it is a paid bit of software, blah blah blah. It's like it's called Welcome Tour. Like
Yeah.
I just don't understand why they wouldn't include
for a
that.
Pack-in title with welcome, Mr. Squidward, with welcome.
For real though. But like, so you guys like, and I believe also Banana Meteor said like paid chat. So is it paid for, or does it come with NSO services as far as the chat function goes?
Ooh, I think that is an NSO feature, but I'll have to look more into it. Super Josh does. Go ahead, Chicky.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's got to be an NSO feature because you need online to do it. So
Yeah,
it's probably
exactly.
base NSO,
Yeah.
not expansion. But yeah,
And it seems like they're making the chat itself like maybe at least free without NSO for like about the first year or so, it seems, or close to that. And Super Josh does mention here that I think it's important for them to have their own voice chat service instead of relying on a third-party app. And I actually agree with that, and to a degree, because here, right now, like I use a Discord a lot of times if we're getting together playing games, but having that at least even with just microphones, you know, even without like videos, even just the microphones and not having to use the additional thing of Discord, I think it's a plus, really.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on the whole chat thing. Like it does, it seems like it has its good moments, like in Mario Kart, and like Jiggy said, it is gimmicky. Some people are almost happy. I'm like 50-50 on the fact that Nintendo is at least pursuing these gimmicky things, because it almost seemed like cut and dry with the Switch 2 reveal. But yeah, it seems like it might have funny moments, like when you can display yourself on your character in Mario Kart World or something like that. But like, still, I don't know how necessary it is, especially being like a $55 purchase on top of all this expensive hardware already.
yeah, it's one of those things I'll definitely get it, and I will probably use it in Mario Kart, and then I'd have to really be sold on using it for something else. Like I feel like I'll just set it up and it'll just be there.
Yeah, for me, that's the thing too. Like the C button, like I was thinking, like, oh, C button, maybe that means create, you know, because they had like maybe they'll have like a game builder garage that isn't, you know, that's more powerful. Or because I never played game builder garage, people know, but create is what I thought of when I thought of letter C. It could have been like, you know, like capture, but
Yeah, that's where I was thinking.
Yeah, kind of like that though.
Yeah, and some people are even theorizing that it could like mention cast, like you could have something like a Wii U, or you can have like your tablet like console, and then like you cast extra stuff to TV, so like you can have like multiple screens going on. And nope, nothing quite that ambitious there.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there could still be some different applications like going forward as far as like the camera goes and whatnot, but like I guess that remains to be seen. And I just want to make a shout out as well. I know Drew already mentioned it, but Justin, definitely appreciate you joining. Milk Dud, appreciate it. Josh, Foxane, and welcome Imaginator. Haven't seen you around, but appreciate you guys coming in, and appreciate the support, guys.
Oh yes, as always. We have in our Discord, we have Super Abachi brothers mentioning it's going to be a long one, so I'll skim this one just a little bit here. Mentions Mario Kart World with its expressive character designs, seamless open world, upgradable Switch 1 games for Switch 2, game chat with Game Share where you can share a single copy of supported game, GameCube titles and Switch 2 NSO Day 1, Kirby Air Riders with Sakurai in charge, DK Bananza, enough said, the overall improvement of the Switch 2 over Switch 1, including console design, sharper visuals, smoother gameplay. Does criticisms mentions the pricing of first-party games is $70, Switch 2 Welcome Tour being paid rather than a free pack-end, another mention for that, lack of clear messaging about the Switch 2 edition games and game key cards. Oh man, there's a whole kerfuffle online about like how much do all these things cost, like with the game key cards, and a lot of information going on about that. That itself was just like kind of crazy afterwards.
Yeah, it was, as a lot of people have touched on, it was just sort of unclear. It's like hardware and all that goes, I mean software goes, just to reveal the hardware price of the console made sense. But yeah, dude, that's a thorough breakdown, by the way, Abachi. Like that pretty much covers about everything. I definitely agree. I haven't heard many people mention Kirby Air Riders. It's super cool as a positive note that Sakurai is actually returning for like his son, essentially his baby of an IP. Super cool. And I don't know if you guys played any, but I'm actually a pretty big fan of like the first game. Like I played hours and hours of City Trial with friends. Like
Me too.
I love that game, dude.
Oh, for sure. And for me, it's like the idea that, Mario Kart won't be the only racing franchise Nintendo has. Like the fact that there is another racing franchise they once had, it bodes well for F-Zero. And here I say Diddy Kong Racing, that maybe, just maybe, we can have more than one racing franchise for Nintendo again that isn't just Mario Kart.
Yes, and I did want to talk a little bit about like just the beginning of that trailer where it was just like, I think so many fans, including myself, wondered if this was the next Smash, just because of Kirby trying to start his star up, like maybe like picking up literally right after like some other Smash event, and then like, but no, it's like, but then it went right to Kirby Air Riders, and I haven't played the original myself, and by the way, that could come to NSO as well. I mean, the original game, so I'm looking forward to trying this new Air Riders here.
Yeah, and I mean, so go ahead, Jiggy.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I thought it was Smash Bros. 2 at first, and I was getting really, really pumped. And then it was revealed it was Air Riders, and then I was still pumped, but I was a little less pumped.
Like,
okay. Yeah, it was like, oh well, okay.
Yep, exact same.
Well, I mean, in a sense, relieved.
Yeah, I mean, Smash Bros is coming. I feel like it's just a matter of time, but like that's a whole damn burst when that does occur. But like, I do think Sakurai was almost like subtly trolling, because like if you look at like the the little things that went by and like hit Kirby's Warp Star, it looked like Smash Brothers. Like it was 100% in that style.
Was anybody else?
Yeah, it was actually Bandai Namco doing it too, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep. Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know that I saw that. Makes sense. They always work together. I was gonna say, was anybody expecting it to be Kid Icarus remake? A remaster?
I think a lot of people have like had that on the radar as far as like the next Sakurai project. So yeah, I was thinking that was definitely a possibility, either for the end of the Switch or like something in Switch 2. I think that's, and even Sakurai himself has mentioned, the possibility of doing that maybe sometime, but I guess just not now.
Yeah, I'm really hoping for that one.
I did want to mention a Plush King.
I thought Star Fox Zero would get ported with like proper controls. Like Kid Icarus, they talk about getting proper controls. But Star Fox Zero, that's one that never got ported. I almost feel like they'd be insulting the gimmick if they ported it with proper controls.
I feel like the sales numbers scared them, though. I feel like 300,000 units. They were like, oh,
yeah, that's harsh.
Oh, for a Wii U game, that's harsh.
Even for a Wii U game, yeah.
We have Plush King 12 in the chat as well. Knock knock. Welcome. Great to have you. Great to have you here on the channel as always. Kevin had a lot to say in the Discord server as well. Mentions pros of Yuka Replay. I think that's a pro for a lot of Platonic fans that's coming to the Switch 2. Matter of fact, I think that's a funny like conversation in of itself, that like Yuka Replay was one of the first confirmed titles for the Switch 2 by having the googly eyes in that one trailer.
Actually, yeah.
Going by Nintendo.
Yep.
I mean, I was surprised, just going back to talk about Bananza, just like how many people, and we'll probably touch on this later, but how many people thought it was like either Banjo related or Platonic related. It's just because of the kind of the style and like especially the googly eyes present.
I was wondering that even for just a split second myself, but then I saw like, wait a minute, jungles, bananas, like that stuff. I was picking up on the DK stuff like pretty immediately there. But even, yeah, it did feel, even the music at the very beginning felt Grand Kirkopish. It did. It felt like that to me a little bit. I was like, oh, wait a minute, is this Banjo? But then, like, no, it's DK, and that was amazing. Moving on a little bit more with Kevin's answer, just mentions, 1080p display and handheld, GameCube games, most Switch 1 controllers should be compatible still, and a list of cons here. He has a big list. Price of the system. Price of Switch 2 games. Breath of the Wild, that's ridiculous. Smaller battery life than the original 2017. No Hall effects. That's slightly debatable there, I think, in some ways. One of the first consoles not to launch with a new 3D Mario. Switch 2 game upgrades and physical cost $80. GameCube games are stuck behind the NSO. Price of Joy-Con 2. Price of camera. Not all Switch 1 games are compatible. Game key cards are unfortunate. One of the most confusing rollouts of GameCube games, and it goes on a bit, but that's we'll we do have a lot of the answers to go over there, but I did want to mention again, if you do want to keep up with all of our stuff, to join our Kooky Crew Discord. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of things that came out, especially after the Switch, that were definitely pain points for a lot of people. For
sure. And like to go over, like that's definitely, I mean, and Kevin's one of those guys that did secure pre-order, so he is all in for this. But like that is a pretty elaborate but actually fair list for the most part. I think there's a few things in there, like a few things remain to be seen, like the quality of, like, say, the Joy-Cons and what have you. But the pricing being like $95, yeah, that's rough. But I want to just touch on, and you guys all came out of this successfully, but just briefly, I just want to touch on the fact, the last point that Kevin made, pre-orders are a mess, and yeah, dude, I hated that with an undying passion. I despise that. Like, that was a terrible night of, like, I could have been utilizing more devices, but it was just, oh man, I even believed the messages where it was like, oh, they're out of stock. I was like, man, that was fast. I guess we'll try later. And then hearing that people...
you're refreshing at midnight, 12:01, and it's like, what?
Oh, gone.
Yeah, that's what I got on one of the websites too. It was just nuts. I mean, I was kind of one of the lucky ones on Best Buy, which like didn't start at all until about 30 minutes after the hour. So that was kind of nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I got kicked out of Best Buy 3 times, and then the fourth time it made it through and was like, sorry, mate, there's nothing left. Like, there's mere crumbs. I was like, all right. But I still have faith. I guess we'll just have to see how the Nintendo registry system goes as far as the pre-orders. So hopefully that works out. Fingers crossed, guys, for me.
Yeah, I will.
You have anything to add to that, Gothic, to some of those things? Like, like maybe kind of curious, what are your thoughts on GameCube cards?
Well, I looked at the GameCube cards and I thought about, like, you know, the idea how, like, well, in the previous Direct, the Switch 1 Direct, they talked about the idea of swapping games out to other systems for like a few days, and then they go back to the other system. With GameCube cards, I mean, I'm old school, but I'll always like the idea of having something tangible on hand. And because even, let's say that things get removed from the digital market, and at first, maybe I'm getting old too, but it's also like, I didn't quite grasp the whole idea of the game card at first, but then I started to look into it more and I'm like, the key card thing, about how it works with that. And perhaps it's an improvement from what they had with like the prepaid cards and such with that all. And I think it's going to be an interesting step that they take forward with it. And albeit, you know, there will be some setbacks with it too. And it's interesting, we talked a little bit, sort of off topics, about the GameCube. And so GameCube's finally become a retro console. It's old enough to be, it was in a weird funk for a while. It was too modern to be considered retro, but too retro to be considered modern. But now it's considered retro.
Oh yeah, I'd say it's definitely in that retro category there. Imaginator mentions in the chat,
I saw that.
secured 3 units. If I get picked with Nintendo, make that 4.
Why?
So
why do you need more than one, bro? Spread the love.
Spare unit.
Mushman, welcome. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're doing well too. It's nice to have you here. Good to hear from you. Super Josh also mentioned DK. Thought DK Bananza was a banjo game at first. I think a lot of people had that initial thought. It has that old Rare kind of feel.
Funny. I'm so desensitized to that. I feel like I'm just immediately like, if I get any banjo vibes, I'm like, well, it's not banjo. What could it be? Like, that's where I'm at in my life.
No, exact same.
Duck Hunt trailer and Smash.
You're right. I wanted to say that some of the complaints that or the cons that Kevin had, part of that is being in like the Nintendo infrastructure, which I kind of look at Nintendo as Apple, the Apple of video games, if you will. And once you're in their infrastructure, like having NSO expansion and everything, I feel like you get a lot of really good benefits. But if you don't have it, you kind of are overpaying for a lot of other things, like the Zelda upgrades and everything, and DLC packs and all of that. Because like, I feel like being in the expansion pack subscription, I get a lot out of it. Like, I think people look at it and go, oh, that's too much, but it has a lot of value to it. So I don't know. That's one thing I would just like to say.
You know,
I totally agree.
Expansion pack, honestly, has only gotten more and more valuable as time gone. I remember though when it first came out, just with that first batch of N64 games or whatever, people were pretty livid. I was pretty like upset myself, honestly. That's just like, just for that much more. But it's gotten more and more valuable with like the DLC editions, Zelda Switch 2 editions coming here soon, and like all these other various DLCs and other benefits they keep throwing in. GameCube games coming. It's getting to be worth the price. It really is.
Yep.
No, I agree.
Been
They're
paying
doing a
for
good
it
job
since
of
the
building.
beginning.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of building the value, I feel like, in that service. Like, it's definitely a good point, Jiggy. But I guess we should move on to the next answer here from J. Dub. I always have so much trouble with J. Dub's name.
Do you want to go over that one, Sam?
Yeah, sure. So Jay starts with the con. So bad. Game prices are crap. Thankfully, at least $90 on physical games is debunked, though. I wouldn't have been shocked if that actually became the standard for Xbox and PlayStation, especially considering Grand Theft Auto 6 rumors along the prices of Last of Us Complete of all games. The Discord-like mods looks laggy, and there was multiple players screen sharing. Let's be honest, most of will still use Discord. That's a good point. The reason I actually bring this up is, will the online actually be good for the Switch 2? Since as much as I appreciate the honest marketing, I do find stuff like prices for nearly anything Switch 2 during that Nintendo Direct was on the down low, which, yeah, we discussed that a little bit too, for sure. So, like, what else are you hiding from us, Nintendo? Still no Street Pass successor. And then he goes on to saying some of the pros here. Good. Finally, Nintendo is open to 4K or higher resolution and frame rates in gaming, especially since I found later in the Switch lifespan, Nintendo's control took a massive hit. This support is great, especially from Nintendo, which seems to be listening to the fans by adding more Mario characters. It seems like they're taking Nintendo giveth and taketh away, though. But finally giving us a new DK game, GameCube games on NSO, better running versions of the Switch Zelda games, which hopefully be locked at a certain frame rate. Kirby Air Riders, probably multiplayer coming back, since I heard lots of fans or I guess love that in the original, basically. He says, just trying to make it fair by adding 3 for each, though. So I suppose 2 was like multiple pros. I do suppose I have quite the favorable view of Switch 2. That said, I have thought of one being the mouse, which can open the floodgates for lots of PC games coming to the Switch 2 and some interesting functionality. Said he already sees some games mousework by Notrum. I don't know that one. Says he's still shocked the company is yet to reveal a keyboard for the Switch 2, though, and he says basically heard the stick, or excuse me, that being he heard the stick on the Joy-Cons will work like the Dreamcast stick, which I have yet to get or even hear anyone with drift issues with a Dreamcast controller. So I guess he's heard something that it will be like a Dreamcast controller, which interesting.
Now, I did want to add to like the controller stick discussion really quick. Someone mentioned like there's no Hall effect, and like Nintendo Prime came out with an interesting video the other day where he mentioned how maybe it has technology like Hall effect, but they can't call it Hall effect because that's a copyrighted technology. But they might be making their own version that's something that can have some similar attributes.
And yeah, thanks for that answer, Jay. That was a hefty amount of pros, but I appreciate it because, you know, some people have different balances, pros and cons. But yeah, that was a good answer, though, dude.
And welcome to the chat as well. I think it's great to have your support as always. King Mo mentions here that I'm very excited about Switch 2, but at the same time, I'm quite intimidated for the prices of its games. Again, yeah, there's so much we can go on about the prices. Again, the $80 Mario Kart doesn't feel quite justified. One thing I wanted to mention specifically was just Breath of the Wild, 8 years later, being $80, not include, like, if you include the, actually, hang on, it's $70 plus 20 more just to get the DLC with it. So if you've never gotten in it before, like gotten in the previous, if you want the DLC, you have to pay 70 for the base game, then plus 20 for, which is 90, which I think it's just ridiculous. Like,
it's insane.
It is insane, especially when you think about during the Switch generation. They released quite a few games that included DLC, like, of course, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario World 3D with extra content within it. That was just kind of a nice thing Nintendo did, where they're like, okay, we're selling a game from the previous generation, but we're going to go ahead and also like include some extra with it for around a similar price. Nope, not Breath of the Wild. 8-year-old game with $20 extra DLC. it's ridiculous. That is like out of all the price things I've heard from this game, that was definitely the one that irked me the most.
For me, it was like that too, and like the Wii U, like the thing was like it is optical disc versus cartridge, so they got away with it last generation because it was a cartridge thing, and not a lot of people played the Wii U games. But the thing is, like, I don't know if they're going to get away with it as easily. I could be very, very wrong, but it's like the thing is, people bought Mario Kart 8 on the Switch. Very few people bought it on the Wii U. People already owned, like, not even Mario Kart example, Breath of the Wild. That was like, it sold gangbusters when it came out because it was a launch title, and it's like. I was thinking, haha, now it's backwards compatible. They're not going to be able to scam us with last generation titles on the new system. And then I see what we talked about, Breath of the Wild Deluxe. I'm like, oh, come on.
They found a way.
They really did. So I want to go ahead and move on. So we got some of our Twitter answers here, starting with Gothic himself. It's too bad there's no new game for me need to care about. Kidding, of course. Donkey Kong Bonanza Extravaganza. What I didn't like, voice chat and 4K resolution is nice and all, but that's been a thing for years now. As long as the games are fun, I'm sold.
Hey, you want to elaborate on that a little bit, Gothic?
Well, he seems like a nice young lad, that gentleman there. Well, yeah, for me it was like even not just the 4K, but like the voice chat. Like, as great as this is, like, these are features that have been around for like a very long time. Like in Nintendo, it's called Discord. But and 4K. I mean, I wasn't expecting undocked 4K. Reason being is because I had 2 portable monitors in 4K, and they completely great mighty pooed the bed, and they so I didn't know. It's a nice idea, so I don't really fault Nintendo, because there'd be a lot of like their mechanics department of having to repair shop, like that would be like dogpiling. So I like the idea of 120 frames per second 1080p, and this other consoles can do 120 frames per second and 120 and 4K. It's like, I looked at that before, but I don't even know if like technology is even there yet, because that looks so smooth. It looks too smooth. Like, I don't play Fortnite, but people showed me Fortnite at like Xbox Series X 120 frames per second 4K. I'm like, it just looks too like everyone's made of like plastic or like,
I feel like a lot of people past like the 60 FPS like frame rate. It's sort of just, I forgive me if anyone disagrees, but to me it's like sort of superficial at that point. Like, I mean, I appreciate a game running at 60, but anything above that, I don't quite see the difference. It does look a little uncanny sometimes, but like I don't notice it that awful much myself.
Yeah, I don't have much experience with 120 FPS myself. Like, even like know if like is a human eye even like, I've wondered, is a human eye even capable of really seeing that many frames? It's like I've wondered about that. But yeah, there's
some saying about that. I can't remember what it is. Like,
well. Let me just say, as a person who games on their PC and has a pretty beefy PC at that, yeah, okay. You can see it, you can feel it. I would say it's more noticeable in games that are more multiplayer focused, having that high frame rate. But I'll be honest with you, 60 is just fine. Yeah, like if you hit 60 and have decent visuals, like totally fine. I actually was kind of shooting for Switch 2 to have 1440p resolution and 60 frames. And the fact that some of these games are pushing 4K, which, by the way, Mario Kart is not. It is 1440p confirmed.
Oh.
So, yeah. So not all games are going to automatically be 4K 60, which is kind of what it made it sound like, but that's not the case.
24 racers, it's going to be a lot to keep up with.
It is.
Right. But you might look at these things like that. I think we're not, like, when we actually get it in front of us and get to look at it, I think it's going to be a more visually impressive game than we're, like, led to believe right now, because that's, like, the game that's been built from the ground up for Switch 2. So I feel like we're going to see a lot more things with it, like reflections and particles and all sorts of stuff. But, yeah, I would say 120, like, if you go past that, we're not going to see too much of a benefit, especially like most people are going to be playing on their TV, which probably doesn't go past 120 anyways. So, yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like you can get by without it. But I would say that pushing past 30 frames, that's very welcome. Like 60 frames, just fine.
Yeah,
Like, we can just shoot for that.
I'm happy with 60 frames, definitely myself. But want to go ahead and go over your answer as well here. Just mentioned various statements you made about Mario Kart series coming to pass and looking like some of the stuff you like in Mario Kart World. DK Bananza looks fun. Mentions criticisms of the console only comes in black and white, not a white variant.
Yes.
No. Yes.
Yes.
And not different colors like the original Switch
Why?
had. There's a lot.
Why is it just black? I mean, technically it's got the like salmon thing on it, but I love my Switch OLED. I was like, I want to stick with white. Come on.
And he also mentioned, on that topic, he also mentioned no OLED screen. It's a 2025 LCD.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard like I guess the only benefit to not having the OLED is like obviously the burn-in, but the burn-in is such a small issue unless you're
not
playing.
Gonna have burn-in.
Yeah,
Oh,
unless you're playing NSO like exclusively with those borders continuously on Switch for longer than it can even handle being like powered on, like plugging it in and keeping it on forever, you should be fine. The LCD, I hear people say like some of the color can be stronger, but I'm pretty sure OLED, like with the actual purest blacks that there are, still has a better pop, but I don't know. I guess that remains to be seen. Some people are telling me it's like pros and cons.
I'll tell you exactly what the issue is with this LCD screen. It's contrast ratio. So sure, you can get color saturation. That's not really the problem. Like you get LEDs, you can get bright colors. That's fine. But the blacks are going to look more gray. And I've seen a bunch of videos of people going to the Switch 2 event and like looking at the screen and they're like, yeah, you can see the gray kind of wash out in the contrast. It's not like it's bad. Like we're not talking like this is a crappy Nokia phone screen or something, you know. This is a high quality LCD. It's going to look good, but it's not going to be the contrast and the deep inky blacks that you get with the Switch OLED. But, you know, I guess I'm willing to sacrifice that on handheld because I have an OLED screen anyways. I'll just dock it and plug it in.
Yeah.
So I'll reap those benefits. But still, it feels like it wouldn't have been that much more. I don't know. I'm not a pricing guy, I guess. I don't know how much more it would have been to make it an OLED screen, but the fact that the Steam Deck uses an OLED HDR screen that supports 90 hertz refresh rate, not 120 hertz, but it's from the same factory that they purchased the OLED screens for the Switch OLED as well. So that whole like thing that they made up, they're like, oh yeah, well we couldn't get the OLED screen to work or something like that. That was dumb. It's like it's working on the Steam Deck right now. So I don't know what their problem was with that. It's just cheaper to do it this way. That's all it comes down to.
You definitely know your tech there for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's like they definitely like the LCD definitely has like, and I will give it that credit. I don't know how they're doing HDR, but if it's like even like an actual HDR, but it is like the colors, as you touched upon, they're definitely super vibrant. Those true blacks are not present, but I guess that's the only thing. And I just wanted to touch upon that as well. And like, I think though, like currently right now, as far as the third-party games, like you brought up, I think like for a launch window, that was really impressive. Like I was floored when I saw the From Software game, like exclusive to Nintendo being announced here. Like I did not expect that in a million years.
Oh yeah, that was a big surprise as well. And I did also mention really quick. Jay Waldemans mentioned that the only games that seems to greatly benefit from more than 60 frames, to my knowledge, is the Xbox One Killer Instinct game. As in doing online, they raised the frame rate to accommodate the lag. I heard. So that might be an interesting example to go over. Quickly going over the rest of Jiggy's answer, we did already kind of talked about this. Want to add that the price of the console feels completely reasonable. The games I'm the bit of the fence about, because I rarely buy games brand new aside from the ones I really want. I'd be okay with 70-80, but above that is really pushing. I'm not mad though. And you know, I'm kind of maybe around this kind of the same way. It just depends on the game and like how much really goes into it.
Yeah.
Some games you get, like Tears of the Kingdom. I love Tears of the Kingdom, so don't talk smack. But I loved it. I got well over 100 hours in that game. So for me, I bought not only the game, but I bought like the special edition that came with like the pins and like all the steel book and all the nerdy stuff. And I think I paid like 120 for it. So I'm definitely willing if I feel like a game is worth it to me. But Mario Kart, although I do really like it, I'm having a hard time. I pre-ordered it, like I want it, but I'm like, why is this 80?
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how you justify it. Like that Zelda edition I got came with a bunch of other stuff.
Right.
You know? So it's like, I don't know.
I think it's just because Mario Kart Deluxe, 8 Deluxe, it's sold it's like the best.
That's what I thought.
Mario Kart's probably their most successful series, like as of like the Switch era, and I think they realized that Mario Kart's one of those gotta have it games. So Nintendo decided to be all sneaky Pete and like, well, everyone's gonna buy Mario Kart.
Did you say Stinky Pete or Sneaky Pete? Either way, I love it.
Yeah, either or.
Either or,
Pretty sneaky and sneaky.
Nice.
I will say I'm glad that Mario Kart World is not. I'm sure people disagree with me, but it's not Smash Kart.
Yes, that
Yeah.
triggers like quite a debate online itself.
The Island DLC Gothic remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But I would agree though, the $70 price point I actually expected, and I thought Tears of the Kingdom was pretty good. But I think the $70 price point just seemed like it was going to be a thing going forward. But 80 kind of has me questioning what the justification is. But do we want to go over Josh's answer here now?
Yeah, I want to go over that one.
So Super Josh XD, member of the Kooky Crew, just a regular fan here, and like a really cool guy, just a knowledgeable Nintendo fan. He said, highlight Donkey Kong Bonanza, criticism, not mentioning the price for the console and games. Would also like to add Breath of the Wild getting Switch 2 performance boost as another highlight, and GameCube library, and more Soul Calibur 2 and F-Zero GX, which, I definitely love Soul Calibur 2.
That is going to be a great addition to like the Switch library on GCN there. And I do want to mention again, just with the Breath of the Wild upgrades, again, like I hate the whole $90 thing for people who haven't played it, but I guess for myself, I mean, like I've had this same cartridge for 8 years, over 8 years now, and I'll just be able to upgrade for free because I'm on the expansion pack. So that,
Exactly.
I guess in my situation, okay, that's actually really nice. So but I just feel bad for the people who haven't played.
Yeah, right. But the people who haven't played would probably have to buy the game anyways, and Nintendo prices don't come down over time anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
So you might as well get the Switch 2 edition for what it's probably like a $10 difference anyways.
Yes. I know.
So perspective, I don't know.
Jay Waldman mentioned, agreed to leave Smash Kart to Diddy Kong's spiritual successor of some sort. I'd love if Playtonic would just jump on that. Maybe if that's like one of their projects, I would definitely love that.
And Josh did say, I don't know if we saw that, what he said in the chat, but he said that he heard that there was people going to the event, the Switch 2 event, and speed running Breath of the Wild.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I
That's
saw
pretty
that. It was awesome.
that's super cool.
We got to
Wonder
go.
what the hosts thought of that. Like, what?
I bet they were pretty amazed and wowed by that. We got to speed like through just the rest of this first question here, and then before we can move on to talking a little bit more about Mario Kart World here. But Chocolate Milk Drinker mentioned that mine was definitely DK Bonanza, and to a lesser degree Mario Kart World. I am equally hyped for both of these games, which is out of this world. Definitely a bit more for Bonanza. Excited for the direct on Thursday. Little Man mentions, easily my highlight was Yakuza 0 Director's Cut. Yakuza was my first Yakuza game, and I hold it very close to my heart as it shaped my future and who I am today. Other than Yakuza, the hardware itself is one of the best I've seen at Nintendo. Hopefully get more FPS games like Team Fortress 2 on it. Would also like to do a little shill for the games. Please try them, as they're some of the best games for storytelling and content. And yes, we know he is a very big fan of the Yakuza series. Just absolutely loves those games.
Very on brand. But yeah, Warrior Bros says, so next answer, Warrior Bros, he's a really prominent member of the Kooky Crew community. If you want to join by subscribing or joining the Discord in the description there. But his highlight was Donkey Kong, Mario Kart World, the title choices for GameCube, Metroid Prime 4, and Pokemon Legends Z and A enhanced versions. His only criticisms was Welcome Tour should have been a pack-in, and that Nintendo dropped the ball in explaining multiple key details like pricing.
Again, like the lack of upfront, we've heard that over and over again. It needed to be, if you're going to give us that kind of a price point that you probably already know is going to get some kind of a backlash, then you just be upfront about it. I mean, like, I don't know, just rip the Band-Aid off. Don't make it to be like this chaos afterwards, at least. I mean, I guess they really just kind of dropped the ball as far as that was concerned.
I'm sure some sort of marketing study like swayed them to be like, well, this X amount of people like won't pay any mind to it. I don't know though, because like sometimes I feel like you're right, Drew. Like maybe it was sort of like a loss of win from the sales, like just finding out after the fact. I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know how they approach that exactly.
I don't know. Revealing. Who knows what goes on in the minds of Nintendo? None of us can ever guess.
Well, we got a second
Nintendo's
question.
that weird company that does whatever they do.
Yes. Moving on to question 2. We wanted to ask, what did you think of today's Mario Kart World Direct? So that we posted this right after that Direct. And what do you still hope to see from it in the future? I think there's general agreement there wasn't a lot extra, so this is kind of a Nintendo World discussion in general in some ways. But Matt B mentions that despite being initially being disappointed by it, I eventually came to accept that it's fine as a general overview for the game, one that doesn't reveal everything the game has to offer. I really hope to see more unique characters in the game, and also that Diddy Kong and the Koopalings come back. Yeah, well, what's with the lack of DK then? Because we got this brand new fancy design for DK, but where the heck is Diddy and the rest?
Yeah, I feel like some people have kind of theorized that like they're sort of leaving the torch in the hands of Donkey Kong Bonanza, being like, okay, you can reveal these new designs or these characters. We revealed Donkey Kong, but you can go ahead and reveal those guys. But like, yeah, I wonder if there's going to be, because it does almost seems like they're sort of done with the character reveals. But yeah, I guess that remains to be seen. Like what he kind of touched upon, the Direct didn't reveal an insane amount of new stuff, and I didn't answer on this question, but I will say like it was sort of safe, and it seemed like it was more of an overview of like sort of what happened in the Nintendo treehouses, and then kind of covering the first reveal during that first Direct there. And I don't know, it just seems like, I mean, there's cool stuff, like I personally, the open world aspect and like sort of the free roam, having like little missions and quests and like collectibles, unlockables, things like that. That's a big thing for me as like a giant Diddy Kong Racing like shill. But yeah, having like any adventure aspects of collection, I'm super looking forward to that. But yeah, the Kongs and other characters hopefully will be included later on there.
Gothic, what are your thoughts on the distinct lack of Kongage in this?
It means that Donkey Kong Racing is in development. I coped too much of that during the Wii U era. It's interesting because when Mario Kart Tour came out, the mobile app, they like had Dixie, they had Diddy, and they had like even a DK Jr. sprite, but they were like priced ridiculously. Like I noticed Diddy and Funky and Dixie should have been there in the last like DLC patch of 8 Deluxe. Like, yeah, the Kongs are back in Mario Kart, but now we're back to square one again. It's like, oh, come on.
Seriously, for sure. We'll have to see if the Koopalings come back as well. I'm wondering like if they were kind of going to lean away a little bit from the Koopalings in this next generation, but I guess that remains to be seen. Chicken, do you want to chime on this one a bit?
But then now everybody's just like, forget the Koopalings.
Yeah, I'm looking at like. It remains to be seen. I have to see what the cast is, right? We've only seen like a portion of it. There's going to be a bunch of characters. One of my biggest gripes with Mario Kart, at least Mario Kart 8, I should say, is just the fact that the characters that they have in them are kind of bottom tier stinky poo-poo garbage. Like
cows. I love the cow, I'm not going to lie.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the cow. The cow is great. I'm talking about like Rose Gold Peach and Tanuki Mario, and I'm like, why do we have these? They're just costumes. I'm like, I like that these are costumes. I like that they're going that route. I hope they stick that route, and I hope we don't see the return of Metal Mario. I hope we don't see the return of Rose Gold Peach. I don't like that they had these fodder characters, as I would call them, that could just be cosmetics. I like individual characters that feel different or significant in some way. I feel like the cow is just goofy, and it'll probably work.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with any like Mario enemies being a Kart character, but you definitely like there's certain characters that would take priority for me in my mind, which I say every time we go into Smash Bros. I'm like, where's Waluigi? Like that's a no-brainer. And then we get Piranha Plant, and it's like, well, okay, Sakurai likes to troll, fine. But it's the same. It's the same thing with Mario Kart. It's like, why do we get a Koopa before we get Diddy Kong? Yep. It's a little weird. I don't know what Nintendo's thinking with that. They want to save significant characters for future, like, oh, maybe we'll do DLC or something. I don't know. It gives me that
Talking
vibe.
about the cow there. It's gonna be really weird when the cow goes to the drive-thru and buys a burger. Like,
Oh,
what
yeah,
is the
that's
cow
true.
gonna respond? How is it gonna respond to that?
You know what these are made out of, right?
They're made out of toads.
Oh, it's funny because you get that Toad burger at Super Nintendo World too.
Oh,
Mushrooms,
man.
they're eating mushrooms.
Mushroom burger. There you go.
Mushman mentions bring back the Kongs. Super Josh, Planet of the Kongs. That's what this place is. That's what the Kooky Crew is. It's the Planet of the Kongs. We're just we're well play as Kong characters.
The
PB
Kooky Kong crew.
Yep. The PBJ J-Prol mentions also that it was cute. The game looks absolutely huge, and I'm looking forward to it. Yes, the size. It looks gigantic, and I'm actually looking forward to the open roam and just kind of fully exploring the world and see what it all has to offer.
Yeah, totally. And like hearing that there's like retro, like for lack of a better term, like or older tracks coming back that still kind of like seamlessly fit into this open world is super, super cool. I can't wait to see how they implement that.
Yeah, in Double Dash there was an old campaign where it's like you would go through like all 32 at the time, then tracks, and it felt like a big campaign in a sense. There was one mode where you could do all of them, and now it's like there's going to be like actual like traversing in between the worlds in the island world to get there.
Yeah, the routes look awesome, and I will say, like we mentioned this before stream, but like Jiggy sort of pulled like a Nostradamus-esque thing, like where he was like talking about an elimination sort of game. And that's almost sort of what this, and he mentioned like a lot of players, but that's almost sort of like this like battle royale, like this route system thing is, where like it's kind of like elimination. I forget the name of it. Is it knockout or what?
Yeah, they straight out have a mode called knockout mode. It was
Yeah.
it was like 100% exactly what I was saying. I wish they had. It was weird. There was some pretty crazy things I was talking about, like the boat mechanic. I don't think I said wall jumping. That would have been extra crazy. I don't think I even fathomed that. I think I may have mentioned an open world, or being like, I would love to have an open world. There was just a lot of weird stuff. I'd have to rewatch what I said, but I remember like jotting it down, being like, holy crap, like doing a tally. There was a bunch of things. I'm just like, what the heck?
They've definitely
Did they listen to me?
They definitely spent their time making this one amidst all of our grumbling about like Mario Kart 8 being around forever. But they took their time, and it seems like they're making a pretty cool Mario Kart here. Banana Meteor mentions here a hot take alert. I don't need the Kongs in Mario game. Oh, fire. To me, they're usually a separate universe. They continued integration of DK into Mario things. It's what's strange to me. I like the huge roster. I like the huge world. I like the new costumes. Excited to immerse myself in this one come June. And yeah, you could say, I mean, like, we don't need Kongs as much in Mario, but, I don't know, the DK and Mario are always part of the same universe in some way or another, so I think you at least need a few Kongs.
Yeah, I can at least say, Banana, I as a friend, I respect that view. But let me tell you, like, I mean, definitely I can respect, especially the sentiment where it's like, to me, they kind of, I wouldn't say separate universes, but they're separate like worlds, or maybe in the same universe, but they're at least separated enough. And like in the established Donkey Kong Country games, where like Donkey Kong has his own island, Donkey Kong has his own space, Donkey Kong has his own thing that he doesn't have to rely on Mario. That said, if ever the chance arises, especially as Gothic touched upon, and especially the feeling, the sentiment of kind of going backwards to being like, we had this Mario Kart game for over a decade, and we finally got some Kongs that some of us were advocating for about a decade. And now we're going back to the next iteration of Mario Kart, and we don't have those guys added? And like, it just kind of hurts a little bit.
It does.
But I can understand the opinion, though.
Kappa Cow mentions here that Donkey Kong was in the original Mario Kart. Actually, that would be Donkey Kong Jr. But funny fact about that, they seem to confirm that Donkey Kong Jr. and Rare Donkey Kong are the same character. At least they seem to be implying that.
Yeah, that cranky Kong's like the grandfather raised him like a son. In fact, I was about to comment on Banana Meteor. Actually, I know Banana Meteor in real life, but that's a story for another day. But the
New Yorkers.
We went to the same high school. But I would agree with that point if we were getting more Donkey Kong games. Like, if we were getting Donkey Kong spin-off games, like Barrel Blast 2 even, who knows? I would agree with that. I see it as like Donkey Kong and Mario. Yeah, it's weird that they get lumped together, but they're both at the end of the day sister franchises with a shared heritage. So it's like Batman and Superman almost, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they definitely
Yeah.
are connected all together. They have been since the very original Donkey Kong arcade game. That's for sure.
Jiggy, were you going to say
Batman,
something?
Just saying. Donkey
Mention
Kong is
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just saying, if I had to pick between them, I'm just saying Donkey Kong's Batman, and that's who I like
New
more.
Gotham City. Gotham City.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
This city
Pauline
needs a
in
hero.
the tunnel, it's the Nintendo world between Mario and Donkey Kong's world, and Pauline would not be allowed to leave because he's half Donkey Kong, half Mario character. It's
Oh.
like the Kermit the Frog, where the Muppets and Sesame Street both.
All
So-
right, well, I guess we'll continue on to Brandon Kong's
Yes.
answer here. So Brandon Kong says, and this is a passionate and almost the opposite direction. Brandon Kong says, probably the worst 15 minutes of my life watching it, because WTF was that character roster. No Diddy Kong at all, and really did make me not want to buy any games at launch until Bananza comes out. And if Nintendo knows better, they should at least prioritize having the Kongs, Koopalings, Petey, and King Bob-omb be added first before they think about adding new or more newcomers. Which I can respect. I can respect the passion there.
Yes, we gotta have some Kong, maybe just a few more of the classic characters. I can definitely see that. Pistachio mentions the direct was kind of meh, in my opinion, and no Diddy Kong, sadly. Hope to see him in the future. I think we'd have a lot of people would love to see more Kongs in there. Breadbug mentions that I'm late on this, but the direct was boring for not showing anything exciting, it being 95% of info we already knew from the treehouse. To be honest, I just wanted Petey Piranha as well as Diddy Funky back. The game still looks great, as is otherwise.
Yep, and I would agree there. We definitely had a few answers advocating, like Drew said, for them Kongs, and the game looks great. Just hopefully, as like Ken Jiggy said, I'm sure there's potential and probably plans for more characters to be added there. But so
Especially
10.
because 8 Deluxe's DLC was not really that long ago when you think about it. It's like they could still ride the wave of like, hey, you know, here they are, and they're still here, you know.
They're here. Everybody's here.
Everyone is here.
Seriously.
Mario Kart.
Oh my gosh,
Credit
that was
emoji.
one of the best taglines ever. Just everyone did one of the best marketing campaigns of all time. Just the everyone is here. Yeah, that was genius.
For sure.
It really was.
And at 10 on Blue Sky says, I am so excited for this game, and the direct made me even more hyped for its release. So some more positive answers regarding the Mario Kart direct there.
I mean, this
And,
it does look
so-
like a great game. It really does.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so much potential. I mean, it seems a little strange that maybe that direct didn't reveal as much as I guess a lot of us thought. It seems like they still have some stuff up their sleeves for sure.
Or
But,
they
moving-
have nothing up their sleeves.
So we don't know
Just
quite.
saying.
We know that Rainbow Road's going to be there, and with who knows what that's going to open up once we travel up to the Rainbow World. Like, is that going to be a whole new world, a whole new bunch of tracks, like out in space? You know, like who knows? Like, there could be quite a lot. They didn't show in this, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
It's going to
Or
be
that
like
too, it's
it's
like,
going to be
in the grass and free roam will slow down the carts. Like while Banjo Pilot, the planes fly over the grass and the planes slow down.
yeah. I was thinking like it's going to be like 6 of like the different rainbow roads all connected to each other up in the sky above the overworld, and you could just be like, where are we dropping, boys? And then just drop down to the islands.
That would okay. I love that. That would be amazing.
that would be sick.
Fireworks.
That'd be
and,
sick.
Constellations of the apparitions.
Moving on to like the Kooky Crew Discord answers, and again the description, or rather the link will be in the description for the Discord there if anyone wants to join the Kooky Crew. But J-Dub has another answer here saying, find out for yourself with a YouTube link. And then he said, no, I won't do that to you too. To sum up my thoughts, I still don't get what makes this an $80 game. By all we know, perhaps they will adopt the Splatoon model with free updates, hopefully.
Yes.
That said, though, this isn't to say the game looks bad. As a matter of fact, it looks fun and definitely will be one of my first Switch 2 games. Definitely love the roster, even though I did wish skins were not grouped as new characters. Which, yeah.
Oh gosh, that was like that infinite menu. It felt like scrolling through the items and like Tears of the Kingdom or Echoes of Wisdom. It's just like can no one design a friendly user interface around there?
It's a
Yeah.
bit strange though, because like the
You mean you
original
don't want baby neon polyester and Waluigi? Come on now.
Cowboy edition.
Or just make them all in the same area or something. It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because the UI, like originally when there was that little snippet, it seemed like, as people were theorizing, it seemed like they were going to put them under like sort of like a filing sort of thing where like you go to a character and then there's different variants of said character. But like sort of like Jiggy touched upon. Yeah, and like sort of like Jiggy touched upon though, it's like I don't know how much I like the idea of like, say like 100 different roster slots all taken up from like maybe 20 characters with variants. Like but we'll see, I guess, in the final game if maybe they reiterate the UI there, hopefully.
I just want to say how much people wanted the Koopalings back pre-New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and now that they're back and they've been oversaturated, everyone's like, man, forget the Koopalings.
Oh man, seriously. We just had something in the chat by Jay Walden, man, was there, but I'm not seeing it here for some reason. I don't know if it's because my chat window isn't showing anything, but he just added to his comment, but it's not there anymore. Do you see that, Sam? Oh, here it is. It's back. It said, I don't know why I didn't add this to my comment, but also the idea that they will never give us back Mii's with amiibo functionality, though all Smash Brothers amiibos work. Yeah, I mean, like, why not have Mii's? That would be nice.
Miyamoto did not want the Mii's. He thought that was its own series, like Wii series, that, oh no, we can't put Mii's on there. This needs to be Mario and its sister franchises, Wario, Yoshi, and DK. No Mii's.
I did not know that.
I thought the Mii's were kind of funny, like in Wii. Like I think it was hilarious to see them around Coconut Mall and things like that. But like I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I know people are kind of passionate one way or the other, but I'm like, I'm fine with the Mii's not being in. But if they're in, I'm fine with that too. Like I'm not really strong on one side or the other.
Yeah,
I just want them to pick. Yeah. I just want them to decide what they're gonna do. Are Mii's just not a thing anymore? Are they a separate thing? Like just buckle down and double down, and I'll accept it either way.
I mean, they had didn't they have like a new updated version for like the Switch Sports, like an updated avatar kind of a thing?
I think so.
But yeah, going over more from the Discord here from Super Abachi, it's exactly what I expected. Aside from a few new details revealed like jumping and missions in free roam, it's an early overview trailer. That said, we're pretty much spoiled. Yeah, there's a lot in this game, and yeah, we haven't mentioned jumping yet. I think that looks like a really interesting, fun, strategic mechanic to use for a lot of applications.
Yeah, the charge jump and like the whole grinding and wall ride mechanic is really, it seems like it opens up a lot of possibilities as far as routing in the game. But when he said we talked about it in the Discord, me and Abachi a little bit, but like I can't say for sure that we're pretty much spoiled. But it does seem to be that if like anything else is going to be revealed, at least in all these reveals and like trailers and the Treehouse gameplay footage, they're keeping the last cards close to their chest, I guess.
Yes, and I would want to mention as well, like I kind of joked around and said like this was the Shadow 3D Mario platformer, because there's like they seem to just have an emphasis on platforming, you know, for like being able to jump, the rail grinding, the wall jumping, just a lot of strategic skill-based things you can do either in the races or when exploring the world, hitting the P-switches to clearing these challenges. Just looks like a lot of fun little, like I said, surprisingly platforming-based mechanics here.
Yeah, it's like the most Mario.
Like I talked about this pre-show, the idea that yes, it was a Vicarious Visions idea when they were doing Project Freedom, but you know, even around that time, before that time, Mario Kart 8 was in development, and there was a scrap mechanic where you would dig underground. And in Bananza, DK digs underground. And now in the Mario Kart World, like I mentioned in pre-chat, also like they rail grind on walls and such, and on actual rails like Sonic and Tony Hawk. It's like, yes, like I don't know if Freedom had anything to do with it. It's like, hey, Mario Kart and Donkey Kong will swap the ideas that their previous games were supposed to have or didn't have because it was canceled.
Yeah, it's like Greg Nails once said, like, just because an idea doesn't get used in one game doesn't mean it won't pop up in someone else's. But yeah, so I mean, like, even Donkey Kong Freedom, like, I mean, it seems like for Bananza, we'll talk more about that later, but that sort of, like, how DK kind of was grinding or surfing on the vines, it's kind of like how he kind of does on, like, the boulders now, like, one of your new abilities. But yeah, moving on to another Discord answer from Kooky Crew here. Zaboy, my brother here, said, I thought it was an okay direct overall regarding the Mario Kart Direct. Great for those who didn't already see the Treehouse gameplays a couple weeks back. I'm personally hoping to see some unlockables, whether it be more carts and or more characters, praying for my man Funky Kong, which makes sense. Perhaps Nintendo is leaving out some more details to surprise us upon the game's release, which, yeah, maybe.
Very
You
well
better
could
get cracking. They've only got a month to go or so. 2 months.
Seriously. Mushman mentions that I just want EGAD and Rob, man, and now they turn Rob into a bike.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was like, I can't help but feel that like that was like such a sad disappointment for some fans there.
And there's a dolphin bike and a Yoshi bike, I think, and hey,
Here you go.
maybe it's an omen that he's coming.
And
Like I said, Nintendo giveth and they taketh away.
they do.
Yeah.
Jay Waldemans mentions, yes, EGAD, please, even King K. Yeah, seriously, bring in Kongs, bring in King K, and more Mario RPG reps. As a matter of fact, it's like Mario RPG reps is kind of feels like one of those third rails that they'll never touch as far as Mario Kart. Even though it's like we have so many Mario RPGs and so many cool characters to pull from those games. Of course, like Geno, Malabuddy, like Fawful, and like so many other cool characters that they could just add in. But I guess they're just worried about them like being out of the mainstream, like kind of too niche, I guess, to be recognizable by the wider audience, I guess. But I just think it would be awesome.
You guys notice they put Sarasa Land back in from Mario Land, finally getting representation.
So it's not impossible that those lesser represented games might get some time in the spotlight, possibly. But actually, if we move on to our Twitter answers, you three actually are our first answers over there. So starting with Drew, if you guys want to go over your answers on Twitter.
Yeah, I feel like single player gameplay is looking really robust. Just mentioned also, really like the face camera icons above razors, can make for some really entertaining moments. Like honestly, like it could just make some entertainment out of, like when you get hit, you may go wah, you know, things like that. And it's just like, I think you could have some good times with that.
I wonder if it'll record clips or highlights or something.
Yeah,
or when you make a capture,
Mario
if it's
Kart
actually
arcade
included.
vibes, where they would do the things on the arcade camera.
You know, that's one thing another thing to mention here is that I don't think they've detailed like how capturing is going to work in this, because I think that's kind of an important thing because you know the Switch only was able to do 30 FPS at 720p for 30 seconds, so pretty lame, honestly. But I'm just hoping they do something beefier, at least 1080p 60 FPS, like maybe minute, maybe longer. I hope they do something better for this Switch 2.
Get that Luigi Jet stare in 60 frames per second.
Yes.
Yes.
So actually, Gothic, you're actually the next answer. Do you want us to read it, or do you want to go over that there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Maybe I was a little bit I overslept because I was still waking up and such. But I was like, oh yeah, the Mario Kart Direct. Wonder what they announced. Is there Diddy? No, yeah. I fear Mario Kart World.
Is there Diddy Kong?
Maybe I was a little bit jaded in this, which is not usually my nature. I'm usually trying to see the opposite things. World made a disorienting with 24 racers, a minefield of green shells and banana peels, and I think. But I did hear there's a way now that they might be able to skip the blue shell, which people have been doing it for ages with a mushroom perfectly timed. And I also think I might have evolved since my answer on the Honeybee Queens. Like, I guess niche characters getting added. Yeah, but they're niche. But like I would still take this in a heartbeat over having we don't even see any of the Nintendo EPD like Link or Villager or Isabelle or. Where are they all? I thought for sure they're going to put ARMS characters in because this EPD division made ARMS also. I thought for sure Springman, Ribbon Girl, Twintel, and whoever else, I thought it was going to be an ARMS fest basically. But hey, I mean, anything that flesh out the Mario cast and its sister.
You thought it was going to be an ARMS race?
Oh. I still wanted Lanky Kong in ARMS. Why not?
Yeah, seriously. Lanky Kong in ARMS. Oh my gosh. It would have happened. Oh god, I wish it could have happened. Man. Jay Wildevams mentions even outside of Square Enix, one I'd find just odd they wouldn't sorry, I can't read. It's just that even outside of Square Enix, there are a lot of good Mario RPG characters that they could still add there. Cheeky, I'm just going to read your answer really quick. Liked everything you saw, especially surprisingly how to use the camera features. Overall, I felt a bit underwhelming because they didn't show a lot of new versus what was shown already. You want to extrapolate that a little bit?
No.
Okay.
That's the gist.
I don't know what to say. They just didn't show that much. I felt like we saw pretty much everything, and very, very small additions to it. I don't know what else to say.
I will say though, because Gothic's saying about having the chaos of the racetrack with the items. The reverse feature that they did include in this direct, though, is a really interesting thing. Like, I didn't see that coming. Like, where kind of everything's still in real time, but you have the ability to reverse. I just wonder how that works regarding the blue shell. Like, if I'm in first, I could be like that meme where the guy reverses and be like, nope, just go back into second.
Gosh,
I do
that was hilarious.
And it still goes after me even when I'm in second. It's like, hey, you cheater.
All right, I guess
Yeah,
we could continue on with the Twitter answers. Aiden, actually, Mushman in the chat here, said it was all right, but not really necessary since we already knew pretty much all the info they showed. Still excited for the game, though. I just need them to add Kongs back in, and then I'll be satisfied.
A lot of people wanting some more Donkey Kong.
Fully agree.
Chocolate Milk Drinker mentioned here also that I thought it wasn't that great. It really wasn't necessary. Could have just been some tweets or an overview, but it seems like there's still a lot they don't want to show. I really hope Poochie and some other Kongs are in this game. That's really it. Has Poochie ever been a racer in Mario Kart? I don't think he has.
No.
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna look up Mario Wiki right now.
Yeah, check it out. On the subject of characters, I do want to mention that Plush King in the chat mentioned he wants his boy Dry Bowser back, which I didn't even realize he wasn't included here. That seems almost like one that would have been, for sure.
Oh, yeah. He was a high-end driver. Looks like he was playable in Tour, Poochie. Although they did Kamek dirty.
Oh, on Tour, that's
Kamek
why,
was done
yeah.
very dirty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kamek's been demoted to an item. You know, can you imagine like if a previous Smash character roster got demoted to an item? I mean, it's just or an assist trophy.
Has that happened before?
I don't think that's ever been quite happened. I don't think that a character has ever been demoted to then that kind of a way in Smash.
I don't think so either. But I'm trying to think. I don't think so. It's more of like people that think it has a potential as a newcomer that becomes an item, then it's sort of like the Band-Aid ripped off sort of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to say on Ishtar Byrne, she's been around in the streams and the Kooky Quests, especially Kooky Question stuff. She just said it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. Perfect.
It's alright.
It's okay. It's alright. But all right, and Little Man, going on to another Little Man here, another member of the Kooky Crew, a friend of ours. Whole direct for the charge jump was a bit overkill. In all seriousness, though, it still looks good, and the added cam feature I like, but the whole cam thing I can see backfiring massively on Nintendo in the future. And I guess I've heard some theories about that. I think they're doing a pretty good thing ability with censoring. I think you can only join friends. But he continues and says, and I'm glad I can still normal 3-lap races, but not worth $75 using CD keys, which I keep hearing the term CD keys. I'm not really sure what that entails.
Neither do I, actually.
CD keys, I'm pretty sure a CD key is just like you essentially put a CD in your PC and then
you rip it.
It would just you just link it and license it. And it's it's like the same.
Legally questionable.
Are you talking about like ripping the game then from the cartridge with the CD? Or
no, not ripping it. Just like you need you could essentially download the game and then you can't boot it. But if you have a CD that has the key on it, you could boot it. So it's like the CD does nothing other than have the key.
Just allows you to boot it up, basically.
Yeah.
Mushman mentions he was in Tour. I think he's talking about Poochie there. Is that what you were talking about?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Cool.
There was one point I wanted to make about the why we haven't seen Fwaffle or any of the RPG characters, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they weren't in-house characters. I mean, yeah, we see Funky, Diddy, and even Dixie in Tour, but Rare's now owned by Microsoft. And when was the last time a non-EPD character or Rare character? Because again, now that Alpha Dream shut down, I wonder if they would just fully kind of adopt the characters as within EPD, kind of like how when Rare was bought by Microsoft.
Moving on, then, just mention Jonathan Switchy just mentioned, very excited for Mario Kart. I think a lot of us are, for sure. One Up mentions, looks like you can have the penguin from Mario 64, which jumped off of a cliff multiple times during the direct.
3 times.
When
They
Nintendo
threw him
jokes
off,
about
let's
the
be
meme, it
honest.
suddenly becomes fact.
Super
Do a
Josh.
barrel roll.
Yep. You want to go over Josh's answer there, Sam?
Yeah, sure. So Super Josh says, I wasn't paying too much attention to the game for a while, but to know that there's some exploration stuff to do is reassuring. I totally agree. I was right about the battle mode being in the overworld, so that was great. Hopefully we get another island to explore with more tracks to race on, which this is a great answer, Josh. Like, I 100% agree all around. I feel like with this overworld sort of thing, if they were to go back to the thing they've tested in Tour and like Mario Kart 8 now with great success, like sort of like waves of content, there's a lot of potential to sort of like add islands or what have you, or maybe even build on the original map, just sort of extend it like up north or somewhere that's out of our vision. Yeah,
Northern Hemisphere.
Northern Hemisphere.
Ooh.
That's coming back hard lately, guys. Northern Hemisphere.
Oh, man.
The representation.
We'll be getting into that.
coming
We'll
back.
be talking about that.
But you want to go over Mo's answer there, Drew?
Yeah, Mo mentioned I'm really excited for this game. There's a variety of options in the single player to do, especially the free roam, and I'm glad they brought costumes. Hopefully we got my main Dry Bowser back in the game, as well as the Koopalings, Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Dixie Kong, Petey Piranha. Some good number of favorites,
Nice.
and yeah. Jiggy, you had something to say there? Or?
Oh, I just said nice.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
really looking forward to the free roam. I think that's like, again, it feels like a surprisingly robust single player offering there that can like offer a lot of like content and just on that front. What I'm really looking forward to there. All right, we're moving on to a thing
It's the big one.
It's the big one. This is something that excites like all of us here.
Yep.
Donkey Kong is back. It's I was
Somehow
so happy.
Donkey Kong returned.
Somehow again.
We're gonna have to use that again.
I mean, I just
yeah,
again,
man.
it's such a moment. You know that the
Yeah, we all
Nintendo
we all
EDP
just
has
saluted.
been.
You guys couldn't hear it, but we're all separately saluting at our mics just now. But yeah, for the third
Audibly
question,
saluting.
we asked, what did you think of the Donkey Kong Bonanza reveal and the gameplay, and what do you hope to still see from it in the future? Drew, you want to go ahead and read Banana's answer there?
Yeah. Mentions, I love the nods to the Kong family and classic DK games. What I'm really loving from Bananza is what's new. The breakable terrain looks so fun to play around in. Can't wait for Ostrich Land community. And oh my OMG, the Oddrock is adorable and a friend. More new, please. The Oddrock definitely, it looks cute from the little scenes I've seen. Like a Donkey Kong like actually whistles to it, and like there was of course some theories about that Oddrock because of certain renders that leaked out that like Nintendo hasn't acknowledged since then, and that definitely was something that leaked that was an accident there for sure.
Yeah, which if you guys haven't seen it, we won't talk about that. We'll leave that out of the conversation here. But some definite interesting things. A lot of it going along plot wise. But I gotta be honest, I was kind of an Oddrock hater at first, guys. I don't know if I'm in the minority. At first, I don't know why. Tell me if anyone shares his opinion. But I was going back to thinking about Cappy, and I'm like, Cappy's eyes would pop up every so often. I love googly eyes. I'm biased to that element. It's cool, but he's not like constantly, prominently present all the time during the gameplay. And maybe I'm a hater. I'm coming around to Oddrock. I really like the voice and the character, and surprised they're speaking full sentences with voice acting. But at first, I kind of was opting for like an option where you could just not see Oddrock on your shoulder at all times. I don't know.
There
if I'm
seems to
alone
be
in
something
that.
like that, I think, because some of the recent Nintendo Today, sorry to cut you off, but the recent Nintendo Today apps have Donkey Kong without Oddrock on his back in the lagoon area.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's still a thing. And again, I think Oddrock is adorable. I think there's a lot of cool, fascinating plot that can go on with Oddrock, and the character seems pretty cool. I'm sure I'll come around more, but for me, I'm just like, why does my Kong homie have a purple rock on his shoulder that looks like Grimace from McDonald's? What's going on here? Like,
Mushman mentions, I was watching the directed work and my boss walked by right when Bananza was announced. I was trying so hard not to scream.
yeah,
Oh my
I had
goodness.
just moved to my new place, so I was also trying to be respectful, but unfortunately I didn't have a mic or anything to set up at the time. Just to miss my move just before we went to Game On to meet up with Drew there. But like I was 100% all in that it was just 3D Mario. I was like, it's 3D Mario. This is 3D Mario. Even before the thing came up, and then when I saw the world, I was still ignorantly being like, kind of like Jiggy said about Banjo. I'm like, well, it's not Banjo. It's not Donkey Kong. 3D Mario. It's like,
Yeah.
pull off the Band-Aid, get it over with. It's 3D Mario.
Oh man,
But,
and I was actually kind of like in like an unusual place myself. I was actually traveling on the way to the Game On Expo, and we're in the hotel, and I literally went to like the hotel like business room. So I'm watching it, and one of the computers have the camera set up, and it probably was one of my most constrained and quiet reaction videos. Just because like. Just because again, if I was in my office, man, I'll tell you, it would have been maybe a lot less restrained there. I'll tell you that much for sure. It was so good. It was so good to finally see that. After hearing all those years of rumors and like speculation and all that, just see that finally all come to fruition. That was an amazing direct moment. Pretty cool. Crocodile just says K Rule. Yeah, we all want K Rule. K Rule, like, I mean, we've been disappointed.
What about him?
We want him. We want him in. Gothic, what do you think of K Rule coming to Bananza? Do you think he's in?
You know, I do believe he's in. I don't want to be too certain. I mean, but since they referenced the Northern Hemisphere, it's like, yeah, I think there's a good chance. Now, here's an interesting thing. In Donkey Kong Country 3, home in the Northern Hemisphere, K Rule pilots the Nautilus, which is a parody of Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. In the Lost World, the Kremling Lost Worlds pay homage to the Journey to the Center of the Earth. And that ties into like Bananza's theming perfectly. And I don't know if like maybe the final boss won't be that exciting or the story's not as exciting, but I'm pretty darn certain that K Rule's going to show up.
I'm thinking there's a good chance of there. Jiggy, your thoughts on K Rule and the Kremlins? Do you think they'll come back?
You know, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. I just feel like it's a Nintendo thing to not bring them back, and it feels like
it does feel that
feels
way.
like Banjo. It's like I know this is what we all want, and I hate to be that guy, but I'm definitely like I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say probably not.
Do you think I'm gonna change post ballot?
What was that?
Do you think the post Smash ballot that might have changed like the Nintendo culture of no Kremlings and the mandate such?
Oh, that'd be interesting. They need to do some sort of DK ballot. You know, at this point, I'm just happy we got 3D DK.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I understand you have
Like
a similar
dominating in the 2015 Smash ballot.
I understand that Sam has a somewhat similar pessimism there as far as DK is concerned.
Well, I wouldn't say pessimism so far as I'd say like fence sitting. I gotta say though, and again, it's more for my own sanity, fellas. It's been over a decade. I mean, since K Rule, I mean, we're going on 20 years. But I mean, I take the game for what they've shown now. I also take these references and I count it all good. I mean, as Jiggy said, I'm just glad there's a 3D Donkey Kong. I'm glad there's Donkey Kong anything, but I'm glad there's a Donkey Kong project that looks like of quality, of passion, and of like, for lack of a better term, fan services and references, and like not being like, we still need to establish our own thing, kind of like as Retro did, respectfully, and great games that they churned out. But being like, Donkey Kong has a legacy. We acknowledge that. We can reference that, and we can mention that both in dialogue and in in-game items, being like the map that you guys mentioned, the Northern Hemisphere showing up. I think there's a lot of likelihood for surprises, all that being said. But for my own sanity, if nothing else, I think right now, this Void Co that they're showing, I see a lot of representation of that. I see a lot of like their signs throughout the worlds. I'm just gonna say that seems like sort of a Broodal's Mario Odyssey situation. Not to say there couldn't be a more prominent big bad, but if anything, I'm just gonna say those seem like the baddies, and the game looks great. Whether or not K Rool's in there, I think, again, there's potential for more surprises. It seems like in the recent Nintendo News and Nintendo Today app, they actually showed something that I think Drew's talked about respectfully on his channel, about the Rambi bit, like the Rambi remix that they brought from Grant Kirkhope's work in DK64 to a new, and I gotta be honest, if you listen to the two, it's almost more Oompa, Tritone, it's almost more Banjo-Kazooie Kirkhope in this version, like it's with the trumpets, and I really love that, man. So I think there's a lot of potential for more surprises for us old time fans there.
I think so, and it's kind of funny. I did want to mention the brief conversation I had with Grant Kirkhope at the Game On Expo. I talked with him a little bit. Like, he mentioned a DK Bananza, and I'm like, so they didn't call you for this one? He was like, nope. You can just hear his disappointment, and like he of course it would be great if he was involved, but it's still great, that they're referencing his work and such. But of course, like, his name won't be in the credits, like with the Mario movie, and like with all music that they own, they never credit specific composers, like with the Nintendo Music app. Even, I mean, seriously, just credit your composers there. Just give us names attached to all this great music.
From Donkey Kong 64.
Seriously,
that's what we're gonna get.
We do need to go on to like another answer. Did you want to go over General Grunt? It's cut off there. Like I know it's the puppet guy. I forgot his name.
Generalissimo Gruntin. It's the real General Grunt over there on Blue Sky. Grunt is a great content creator. He's a puppeteer guy. It's like a cross between Adult Swim and the Muppets. It's just good stuff.
He's fantastic.
He's fantastic.
I got to meet him in New York City.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome. And he does great cosplay as well. But my one criteria for the next DK game, he says, was aside from it being good, of course, K. Rool needed to be in the game. I'm not buying it if K. Rool makes no appearance, and I'm not waiting 11 more years for the next DK game to speculate. Sorry, DKVine.com, but this is it for me. K. Rool has to be in it.
And if you watch any of his stuff, you can kind of see why he's that passionate. He has that like K. Rool
puppets are just a big thing with the guy.
They really are, and like I've seen so much funny stuff he's done. Like with he did one where it's like with the Burger King. That was so funny.
Yeah.
Breadbug mentions here that Bananza has currently put me into a deep fixation. The areas look great. DK looks both fast and powerful to control. All around the game looks great and has sold me on wanting to get a Switch to. I just want to see him on King K. Rool. We all want K. Rool. And yeah, I mean, this game is a system seller. And I think it shows so much in Nintendo that they could have Nintendo EDP, they could have taken a safe route. They could have just worked on Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever the next 3D Mario was. And no, they wanted to make this one of the headliners for the Switch 2. They wanted to bring DK back, and they did all this stuff as a build up to it gradually over the years. That just shows a lot from the team that they wanted to just bring DK back in this big way.
Yep. And like we kind of talked about in some of our past episodes, like we've had a lot kind of come to fruition, both with regarding Donkey Kong, both with like the HD port and now this new game here. I think it's really cool. I just didn't expect, like I said, I felt like it was 3D Mario at the forefront for the launch, and then DK for the next gen for sure at some point. But like having him be in the launch window is, I'm stoked for the Big 8, guys. I feel like this is our friend, like getting a promotion at work. This is great.
So Gothic, I wanted to ask your opinion. Like he mentions, DK looks fast and powerful to control, like the general controls. What do you see from like the previous Donkey Kong Freedom project of what you've heard about that seems to might be reflected in the Bananza DK here?
Rock surfing.
I really don't believe that much of that project survived. Like maybe one or two things, but that's about it. I mean, the thing is, like, Nintendo is so organic in the way they want to do things. Like, they probably want to expect, like, Activision having the Vine grinding rail thing as, like, a them idea. But, and maybe they'll be inspired a little bit for those that knew about it. But, like, it was also a lot of years ago, too. But the idea that it's open and it's, like, 3D again, of course, that's fantastic. Of course, it's funny because the plot, actually, of Freedom was about the factory damming. And, in fact, one of the missions in the lagoon features preventing the water flowing or something. I don't think I had anything to do with it, but in terms of the question of the gameplay, I think just the idea that Donkey Kong's this complete, destroying everything that's past. Some people said, it should have been a Wario game. It's like, yeah, Wario World was a great short game, but, I think that for Donkey Kong, this is how you do 3D Donkey Kong. In fact, actually, another sort of off topic, but I want to talk about the K. Rool a little bit. I'm not really sure if I could really know why anybody could really write them off just yet when the Crocoids are the base
I almost
enemies
brought
of
up the
Warcraft.
Crocoids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a distinctly crocodilian thing that's showing up in the game. And then want a huge shout out to a couple of people out there, like Uncle Al over on YouTube has been covering this a lot with his Croc Watch series. There's a guy called Skips over on Twitter that's been posting a lot of things as well. They're really keeping track of all the different things that are coming out about this game. So Sam, did you want to go over Matt B's answer on Blue Sky there?
Oh, for sure. And yeah, I totally agree. Like the Uncle Al, both for his humor and just like the content. Definitely a bunch of fellow connoisseurs, if you will. But yeah, Matt B on Blue Sky said, and if we got another K. Rool, we're gonna get a few of these. I would say K. Rool, but I have a strong feeling that he's hidden somewhere in the game. So I'll instead say Diddy Kong. Really hope he's in there somewhere. Which, yeah, totally agree. I don't know if the controversy around the hip hop artist recently contributed to his disappearance or not?
Nah.
I just have to say in terms of Diddy, like, as much as I would love him to be there, like, I'd still probably be mad that he would just be a relegated power-up again. Because let's be honest, Diddy's not punching boulders and breaking concrete walls. He's just not.
A peanut gun, man. It packs a wall.
Oh, fire and
No, I
spark.
don't. But like I thought of that too. I was like seeing all the monkey miners and with an E, people. Anyway, seeing all the monkeys mining. I just wonder if maybe Diddy's like got a role. I mean, we've seen Cranky. They've alluded to Rambi. I mean, there's a lot of new original Kongs and monkeys we can see in like the screenshots and footage there in the trailer in the treehouse. So I think there's a good chance of Diddy. But him not being in both Mario Kart and now Bananza yet is, I just get worried a little too easily, guys. But I'm a little wary.
Yeah, I'm a little.
Well, he got such a prominent role in the theme park. I mean, there's Diddy Kong merchandise at Super Nintendo World everywhere.
True.
I guess that they may have an updated design for him that we just haven't seen yet. So I guess we'll just have to see if he shows up in the game in some way. I think there's definitely a fairly good chance of Rambi showing up in some way with like his theme in there, with Cranky specifically mentioning him with the icon for Rambi that's there, and especially we know with the theme of like destructible environments. There's no better animal buddy for destroying stuff than Rambi. That's for sure.
I'll agree. And
That
now
might
that
render him
song,
obsolete, though. That's why On Guard was in Tropical Freeze. Michael Kelbaugh of Retro Studios really wanted On Guard, but I guess he lost out to the notion that there's only 2 underwater levels in Tropical Freeze, and the Kongs can already spin underwater. So who needs On Guard? Which is sad, because we wanted On Guard, and Michael Kelbaugh did too.
You need something
at
that
least
can
having
be,
a reference would be nice.
You need something with some that's that would have been great for the water levels, because you need something that can that can attack the enemies, like that gives some of that semi-invincibility kind of feeling. And Unguard would have been great for those underwater sections, which can be a little bit tough. Just what could have really designed it around there. Expand Dong, a really big member of like the Donkey Kong fandom there community, just mentions I need it. Also, give me the rest of the DK crew and King K. Rool. We'd love this. Any more Kongs that we can see would be great. And we'll just have to see like how many Kongs show up and what they pull from that universe there.
Yeah, and I think as far as animal buddies, really quick. Sorry to interrupt you, Gothic. I think as far as animal buddies, it seems like there's a good chance of seeing Espresso potentially maybe in this game, but I think Rambi's a lock at this point.
I think there was a similar looking thing that kind of looked like Espresso in the game, like an ostrich type character. I don't think it's been confirmed if that's Espresso or not. But Jiggy, is there like just kind of curious, like what is your favorite Kong or animal buddy that you might like to see in this?
Well, I'd certainly like to see Diddy Kong in this game. I think we're underestimating the probability of DLC. I can't help but feel like maybe they'll do some sort of Diddy Kong expansion and then make him like the whole protagonist, which I think would be kind of neat. As far as the animal buddies go, yeah, Rambi seems like a shoe-in. I don't know why they would tease us and then not give us Rambi, but it would be fan-freaking-tastic if we got just give us more animal buddies. Give us the Squitter, give us
Squawks.
give us Squawks. Like let's get them, even if they're not all playable. Give me some use of them. I love the references. I always love looking for them. Like that's one of my favorite things about Donkey Kong 64. Like, let's do it. Come on, give us a cave where all of a sudden Squawks flies in with a flashlight. I'm for it.
What do we think of the naughty fossil?
Definitely.
I feel like regarding what Gothic said about the naughty fossil, I feel like the timeline is hard to figure with the plot here, or even just where the game occurs. It feels almost like Zelda, almost like where it's like, what is this taking place right now? Because we have a fossilized Naughty, we have what seems to be fossilized Kremlings, we have an old, like, rustic pirate-esque map of the Northern Hemisphere. It's like I just wonder what the approach is here. Like, it seems almost like everything Kremling related or that happened in like the country games is sort of like delegated to like history now. So
yeah, almost like
Interesting
ancient
that Retro
history.
didn't use.
But looking at Brandon Kong's answer and talking more about character inclusions, Brandon Kong on Blue Sky says to see what role Diddy Kong is going to play in Bananza. Maybe he's playable and he tries to gather intel on Voidco. that's sort of like a secret agent Clank sort of vibe, in my opinion. That's what that reminds me of. In between DK going to different worlds, much like how Mario fights Bowser, the dragon, and also Forgotten Isle. Which, yeah, maybe I don't know if Diddy will play a role gameplay wise, but maybe he'll play a role in the plot. I guess remains to be seen.
That would be
Like
cool.
Luigi's Balloon World, yeah.
Didn't want to mention a Plush King's comment that he didn't sponge my voice. I need it.
Yeah, that's immediately what I thought of too.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I like that DK is just here, like in this gameplay footage we're looking at right now. I like that he just has his tie. The overalls did not do it for me. I thought that looked
I agree.
bad.
Yeah,
Like
I-
straight up bad. I did not like it.
I think that might be
At
an
first I liked
optional
it 'cause it's like
thing.
Mario. Yeah, like he stole Mario's overalls and his 3D platformer. Sorry, Drew.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Just based on early renders that I used to just stare at in like bewilderment and fascination. Like I used to just go through renders of like Banjo and especially Donkey Kong Country, as my namesake probably says with my obsession. But like Donkey Kong in a few renders back in the day, some even like not used very much, some used prominently. He wore a little like miner's hat with when he was in like the mine carts of the mines. He kind of had a miner's hat with like a little light on there. So I thought that was kind of cool to see him actually wearing it in game during gameplay. But I would agree with the overalls, especially like minus the hat. I was kind of worried in the initial trailer when I saw the overalls. I'm like, I guess I could get used to these overalls, but like a lot of people compare him to Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes.
Which I
Yeah,
kinda
he
saw
looked-
myself.
There
It's
was
like
a lot
full
of
circle.
there was a
There's
lot
full
of
circle.
parallels. A lot of parallels to Wreck-It Ralph.
Redneck Kong.
When the whole scene when he was like diving from the sky with his fist out, I was like, what is this, Wreck-It Ralph? I said that when I watched the trailer. Like, it was very Wreck-It Ralph.
Very much.
Bananas, mama.
And like the fun thing is too is that Wreck-It Ralph is himself, based on Donkey Kong. Like that. It's like it came full circle, and like,
And he knows
Yeah.
Bowser too.
oh yeah,
Yeah, Nintendo's like, we'll take that. Like, kind of took inspiration back from Disney there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I totally agree. And it seems like now, if you guys haven't seen, it seems like there's both ability to unlock other cosmetics and that you can thankfully kind of just put away whatever you want as well, or take off whatever you want. So that's good.
I'm just gonna know really quick. Just looking at this footage really quick, it's like that crocodile type statue thing almost has like the red fist, almost like a boxing glove. I'm just going to mention that fact.
The
kind of
crocoid.
the crocoid
crocoid
thing. It
brain
kind of almost
rot
has something almost
is-
looking like a boxing
Yeah.
glove there.
Or even like the Buzzoid looks like a zinger from like underneath.
Yeah, the Buzzoids are really interesting too. That's another thing recently I've been looking at. Like, they really just look, all of them, reminiscent to past enemies, which I think is fascinating. But TGC Dave over there on Blue Sky, he says, I love the reveal, and honestly, I would not want to see anything else from it. They showed just the right amount. Nintendo has a tendency to show off everything a game has to offer before releasing it, and it's kind of annoying to him. And yeah, I think there's been. I was even kind of hesitant to watch the tree houses, but I think they've been pretty safe, and I think they showed the right amount as well there.
I'm actually, I haven't watched. I gathered them for the just the footage and stuff like that. But this is actually my first time watching the footage, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just more and more excited about this game. It looks fantastic.
Yeah,
I
it's
will
awesome.
say I was a little annoyed they did not reveal Cranky Kong right away, because it would have soothed a lot of hours of a lot of Rare purists, who rightfully are Rare purists. I mean, I'm a Rare fanatic myself, but like that we're not going to get any Rare characters. It's going to be Jungle Beat 2, and Cranky comes along like a couple hours later, just like, calm down, everybody, we're all fine.
Yeah, pretty much though. I mean, yeah, that's weird that they had another iteration of the trailer. I believe I think it was exclusive to the Nintendo Today app or something, but it was like the same trailer. But then he's high-fiving Cranky. They're like, literally, calm down. Like, it was interesting that they included that.
And a chocolate milk drinker has joined the chat. They contributed some to the answers there. So thank you for joining. I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah,
Icky,
big Donkey Kong fan. He's one of the Kongsters over there on Twitter in the Donkey Kong group over there. But yeah, thanks for joining, man.
Yep, and Icky looks like Icky Sticks mentions I need him back. We all want him back. Then the let's see, Nate, the next tie. I don't know how you say it, but mentions
Next site, I thought.
game yay, price nay. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, and yeah, it's not $80 like Mario Kart, but still $70. It seems like it's becoming at least one of the pricing tiers. So that's the thing that people are confused. It's like, are games going to be $70 or $80, or it's just going to flip back and forth? I mean, like, how much are these games for Switch 2 going to be?
Yeah, like even Gothic had touched upon, like I was one of the ones that completely, I mean, how could you not, when people start presenting information, fell into like the, oh my gosh, $90 physical games, what am I going to do sort of crowd. Like I totally believed, and you still see some of that floating around, and that's just kind of like just chalk it up to like Nintendo not being very clear in those details and people making memes that are going viral. But I am glad, I will say, at least as a somewhat positive point, that at least physical games aren't that extra 10 in hitting the $90 price point, because I was pretty disappointed upon that news.
Yeah, there was there was like quite a bit of like contradicting information going out, different like prices in different regions. Then you had the whole tariff situation, and like everyone doesn't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, like game prices, they just keep going all over the place. I think all gamers really want is just maybe some idea of certainty for this next generation of Nintendo going forward.
Yeah, and like Doug Bowser coming out of the woodwork after not really being as prominent as, say, like Reggie was back in the day, but like coming out to kind of defend the pricing point. I kind of understand what he was saying, but the reception to it was not fantastic. Like it wasn't a great look for him, sadly. But yeah, I think at least from what he said now, at least he did confirm like Mario is coming. There's Mario stuff being worked on, and that like the price point is sort of on a game-to-game basis.
Yeah.
Which, for better or worse, so we'll have to see how that works out there.
Game basis. But for me, I think it's more like Mario Kart. Like I think with Mario and Pokemon and probably Animal Crossing, those are the big sellers. I don't think it's necessarily the game's content. I think it's just the brand name that will sell the games. That like Yoshi, Kirby, those games won't have as high prices, not because the game quality is not as good or the content's not as good, but just because it's not as much of a gotta have it title as mainline Mario or Pokemon is.
Yeah, that makes sense though. And I guess we'll go over to the Discord answers. We got to start rolling out a few more answers here.
Yep. Banana Meter, I did want to mention, I will buy physical until they stop making physical, no matter how they tax me. Welcome to the chat. Great to have you here as always. Again, excellent artist over on Twitter.
Hey.
Yeah, I totally agree there, though. Like, I mean, I was kind of worried that they were kind of like de-incentivizing like the purchasing of physical because it's more to produce them and everything, but I'm glad it's not the case, because man, I was wary.
Oh yeah, Super Apache Bros in the Discord mentions seeing a new DK game after so long, let alone a full 3D one, was absolute heaven. I would hope for more nostalgic callbacks, including the rare era content, reliable animal buddies, more Kongs returning, and the possible return of K. Rool himself. All stuff we've mentioned. Yeah, I think that they definitely are putting in nostalgic callbacks galore. That has been apparent. We have a team that loves old DK there.
Yeah, I think the thing like Gothic touched upon, like that Donkey Konga 2 but in 3D sentiment was quickly disproven there.
And Chocolate,
for sure.
Go ahead, Gothic. You had more to say there?
Well, yeah, that like the New Donk City street signs too. Like,
Yep.
Like yeah, K. Rool and Radley. Like this is more than Retro was allowed to reference it. Like I said in the last episode, it's no longer the Kensuke Tanabe's looking down on it. It's a generation that grew up with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the floodgates are kind of open now for, I mean, hey, I'm not going to say K. Rool's in it. I'm good with the new stuff. But I do love and adore the sort of revisitations, the references, and like bringing some old guys up in there. Just, if nothing else, put to inhabit the worlds. Let's get Radley in there. Let's get Squitter.
Oh gosh, so the jumping ability of Radley, and then think about 3D platforming with Squitter and making platforms, just the potential there. There's so many good ideas they could try out. YouTube Primary in the chat, welcome. Just mentioned, can you lend a virtual game to another console if it get a physical game? I don't know that. I'm suspecting that isn't the case, but does anyone know about that?
I think it's digital exclusive, isn't it?
I think it is a digital thing as far as like digital game copies and sharing that way.
It's a basically digital thing of like 15 days, I think, right?
Yes, like a couple of weeks.
Something like that. I think about it this way. If it sounds too good to be true, you don't understand how it works.
Well, continuing with J-Dub's answer here on YouTube. And if you guys want to join YouTube, Kooky Crew, subscribe or go ahead and look in the subscription to join the Discord, the Kooky Crew server there. He said, awesome. Nice to see the 8 finally back and more than just re-releases, and at least for me, this will definitely hold me over till the new 3D Mario game. My big hope is simply add more classic Kongs and let this game roll out the text Return of the King, just this time for King K. Rool.
Oh gosh, that would be epic. And talking about King K. Rool, in terms of epic ideas that they could do, I think the Smash trailer for K. Rool and how they end up like a big fist punch at the end there, and the emphasis on like destroying stuff and wrecking stuff, and think of K. Rool and Donkey Kong having this feral destructive fist fight. It would be the most amazing thing ever.
I totally agree.
That doesn't happen to make it in dreams. You all got my PlayStation 5. You don't have it already.
Gothic makes in dreams what we dream ourselves. But I feel like that Rivals trailer, I mean, yeah, man, here's hoping. But again, I'll accept all the new stuff, and I'm loving the new stuff. But more crumbling references, more inclusion, the better. So.
And not
Yeah,
just
sure.
the crocodiles, but it's like the little. There's even Kremlin like crocodile skeletons in the treehouse footage around like Ingot Isle. Like you just see like random like.
Oh yeah, like
again,
skulls.
not crocodile, the little skeleton crocodile.
For the very first time I saw Ingot Island, I thought that looks like Crocodile Island. I just thought that, and like the general shape of it. And then there are some conspiracies from like Big Al and some others already talking about that idea. But even then, I thought that looks kind of familiar to me. And also,
We actually have Gothic's answer is actually the next answer there for the Twitter answers. If you want to go over that, Gothic.
Oh, I might as well, I suppose. What did I say again? Oh, sorry, I'm watching the live stream chat, and it looks like it's still on Jay's. I gotta go live.
We can go ahead and read it if you'd like.
Oh, yeah, I think I was something about how like it was validating to finally have EPD Donkey. Oh, here it is. Yeah, validated because that EPD Donkey Kong finally became a thing, and my journey to this game stemmed, of course, with Freedom being the cancellation game that happened right in my own city. It's like, but then I heard that it was going in-house, and I wasn't sure like if maybe like the project, not that it fell apart, like I thought maybe there was a chance it could have been farmed out to like some other developer, but that doesn't happen with internal Nintendo projects unless things are going really bad. And what else we got here? Tarzan mechanics. Well, that was of course the Freedom gist of it. Yeah, I think that still could be having experimented with the dreams, it's nice and all, but it's like I'm glad that it focuses on like, I almost feel like Funky Kong would be more fitting for the Tarzan mechanics, like the surfing and like, remember Zipline Shrine and Tropical Freeze?
Oh yeah.
That's like the thing like that, only on the feet. I will say, I think that and this is something DK Vine talked about, the whistleblowing mechanic was likely a Miyamoto contribution. Like Donkey Kong should make music, have him whistleblow tunes.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah,
Sounds
that
about
does
right.
that's sound like a Miyamoto thing to do. He just does random game mechanics like the blowing one and such. Jiggy, do you want to go over your answer there? We got it coming up here as well.
Yeah, could you read it? I can't.
I'll go
see
ahead and
it.
read it here real quick. So Jiggy said, "The more I see, the more I donk." Sure, it doesn't. It
Yeah.
doesn't look like DK64, but it looks pretty fun. Personally, Odyssey is my fave 3D Mario, so I don't know why people complain that it looks like it. I'd say that it's a good thing. Plus, all the environment destruction. Let's go.
Yeah, I think I said a few times that this made me feel like Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Yep.
Yes.
100% agree.
Which is a fantastic game if you've never played that on like the PS2, GameCube era. Just fantastic, super fun. Everything's destructible, destroy everything, run around. This reminded me of that in a way, and I've just, yeah, it just straight up looks like a blast to me. Like objectively looking at everything, like when I first saw it, I thought it kind of looked a little bare bones. I was like, yeah, the environment looks a little empty. And then it was like, the more we got, I was like, oh no, it was just that part they were walking in. Like this game, there's so much to it. It looks good. It looks fun. I'm going to have fun. I'm getting it day one. Man, and just the more I see about it, the more I want it. Like watching this footage right now, I'm like mesmerized because I was seeing stuff that I hadn't seen because I didn't watch the treehouse footage of it. So I'm like, this is awesome. Like he's climbing, he's moving super fast, he's catching rocks and throwing them back. Like I'm super pumped for this one. So yeah, I definitely dunk. I dunk with this.
It looks great. Chocolate
Concur
milk
with the
drinker.
donking.
Yeah, chocolate milk drinker mentions a personal theory is that I think Ingot Island is somewhere near the northern Cremisphere due to the maps, and maybe the Cremisphere is having a gold rush, and Ingot Isle is the source of it.
I was thinking similarly, with the banandium. But yeah, and Marty, to continue on the Twitter answers here, because we're kind of running out of time on our time duration here, so we'll kind of like speed through some of the last answers, because Donkey Kong Bonanza, like we said earlier, in our little niche of a community, we definitely like appreciate, guys. Like, we got a ton of answers on the Donkey Kong content. But Marty here on Twitter said, "I am looking forward to it. I hope they bring back all the Kongs, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see." Which, yep, totally agree. Hoping for some more Kong characters and familiar faces there. And Drew, you want to go over Jim Dot Beep's answer?
Jim Dot, if they bring back Lanky Kong with a design that doesn't piss me off, I'll forgive the changes they made to DK. The weird anime art style the villains are in, and the lack of Kremlings. Yeah, they need to definitely. It would be great to see Lanky Kong. And yeah, agree with all those points there.
Yep.
He has a funny face.
DK's taking over the funny face. He's carrying the funny face torch right now for sure. But and then Donkey Kong Fanboy, just a massive Donkey Kong fan, a super prominent community. He actually got his account kind of hacked over there, so he has another account here. But he says this basically, which is sort of just a GIF of like Gumball with the "It's beautiful" and like his face blowing back.
Yes,
Gorgeous game.
Saying this. He wants fishing. He wants a fishing mini game. He kept mentioning, he's like, Zelda has them. I want Donkey Kong to have a fishing mini game. Which, sure.
But yeah, this is looking like, to me, like one of the most the beautiful Nintendo games to date here. I mean, it just looks lush, animated super well, super detailed and gorgeous, and it just all runs smoothly. That's the extra power of the Switch 2 definitely being utilized in this game.
Totally agree. And you know what? If there's a fishing mini game, maybe you can catch Engard. Who knows?
Who knows?
People wonder why we haven't seen this game in 2021. It's like, why? Well, look at it.
Did they grab at the ghoulies?
Songs, yeah, like talking about staying faithful to their designs. But I know we're running out of time, so I'll make this one quick. Cranky Kong, and when its dialogue actually returned to like rare style dialogue, which I was so thrilled about. It feels like he became the stock wise old man and wasn't allowed to be a jerk to Donkey Kong anymore. And I was really sad about that.
And it seems like he's taking the leash off more.
Yeah, definitely. Be more like his old self. Blake here mentions, I'm going to go into the game blind, but when I play it, I do hope we see more Kongs, hopefully the Kremlins too. Super Josh, it's going to be bananas, so excited. It seems like a very confident platformer. I thought it looked interesting for how you interact with the environment and how DK moves. Definitely different from Mario and looks very fun. And yeah, that's definitely a thing. Like, this is clearly, like, it's made by the Mario Odyssey team, but they've DK infused this like in so many ways here.
Oh, agreed. And like for me, it was like the worlds looked a little more Mario than I would have liked it originally. But like Jiggy was saying, they've elaborated so much, and especially in the treehouse, I'm just stoked for it. And the layers digging deeper and deeper downward for some reason. I'm just loving it. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Red Fox saying, "Oh, go ahead, Jiggy."
Oh, I was gonna say I like the potential of these worlds looking somewhat similar, because it could open the door to sort of not crossover games, but more connected universe, like intentionally connected universes, not like just Mario Party and they're showing up, but like we could see a Mario world in a DK game or something. Like, say, like what if in this game at some point he goes to New Donk City? Like that would just be awesome.
Wouldn't that be
awesome?
like that? Wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, again, we won't go into potential leaks out there and such, but yeah, we'll have to see if that turns up. Rare Fox Sane mentions the response won't be unique, but I'm so hyped. A lot more than Mario Kart 9. I love the new redesign, like Kev Bayless do, and hope that King K. Rool will be back. And could be because of some of the clues on the trailer. We haven't really talked about the new design of Donkey Kong that much, but you know, there has been a little bit of mixed reception. I'd say mostly positive, but still some like mixed reception, a little bit of mixed receptions of some people who really love the old DK look. Did you guys want to chime in your thoughts on the design there?
Oh, I can.
Sure, go ahead.
I would like to say it's grown on me. I think the initial shock of just, oh my gosh, his face looks different. Like, once that wore off and I kind of just got past it, I think it's fine. I'm kind of in the camp though. I'm like, why did he need a redesign? It doesn't really do much for me, but after I got over the initial like, oh, they're changing something I like, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I think about Sonic, and Sonic has like changed design since
so much.
Like every 10 years, basically, Sonic just completely overhauls his design. So if I can get past it with Sonic, I think I can get past it with Donkey Kong.
Gothic, what do you think of the new design there?
Well, hats off to Kev Bayless for being so based and awesome about like it all. Like he's been so like champion. Like guys, you know, we need to embrace change. You know, this is actually really cool. It's like he's so goated, like in a good like goated is the greatest of all time. He's the man. You guys got to meet him, right?
Yep.
Kev Bayless.
Multiple times now.
Awesome. The thing about the design is like kind of like what Jiggy talked about. How like, you know, it's like departing from something that we once sort of like knew, but the fact of the matter is like, you know, these things will change over time, you know, and it's like whether people, you know, the designs of characters that have been around for 40 years, they're going to change, you know. It's like and Donkey Kong looking more like his original design, almost kind of like Junior-esque, sort of does solidify the whole Junior thing, that he's actually Junior all grown up, and Cranky Kong was the grandfather, raised him like a son.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
I think they have. And speaking of that, we have a Nas game reviewer mentions, I need that tasty monkey lore. And I think they are, everything we've seen in this game is something that seems to be acknowledging all of Donkey Kong's past, like all as one big whole. I mean, yeah, we'll have to see how much they do put in, like you say, if they bring it back K-Rool and such, but they are clearly referencing like a lot of past DK stuff and like trying to create a story that's like kind of cool for the DK universe there. Moving quickly on to Mo. I absolutely love the reveal of this game. I hope to see the Kremlings and K-Rool come back. You want to go over Aiden's answer there, Sam?
Yep, and I gotta agree with what Jay was saying too, really briefly. At first it was like, okay, this is different, but I don't think he looks like the movie. I think it's like a cross between the Mario art, kind of DK Jr. facial expressions, more facial ability, and then kind of our old Kev Bayless design for the most part. But yeah, Aiden says, really looking forward to Donkey Kong Bananza. I'm a big 3D platformer fan, and this game looks so polished, expressive, and fun. I like the braking mechanics, and it seems like the environments will be fun to explore. Definitely hoping to see K-Rool return in the rest of the Kongs.
Why do people hate K-Rool so much? Nobody's talking about K-Rool.
No, I think you would mention it. But yeah, going on to Cavezilla's answer on Twitter, Cavezilla says, it seems too similar to Odyssey's approach for his taste. I wish it was more like the older DK games, aka an exploration title. I think it's meant title.
Yes.
exploring a map following determined paths. Then an excavation one, like Minecraft, where you can dig anywhere and be rewarded simply by doing so.
And yeah, there's this. I can kind of see that
agree with
viewpoint for sure. Especially, you know, when you think about Donkey Kong 64 and the possibility of expanding on to be something more like that. This is clearly not like a DK 64. It's going on its own blazing path forward. But yeah, 25 years after DK 64, yeah, I kind of see that viewpoint for sure.
For my DK obsessed mind, it kind of canonizes like the existence of the monkey mines, like in all the Donkey Kong Country games. Like I kind of love like, oh yeah, of course. Like if anyone's gonna mine, it's gonna be the monkeys, like these abandoned mines on DK Island. But yeah, I could understand like seeing some of the Mario-esque stuff and like I guess the stylization, especially the worlds. But like for me at least, I think the digging mechanic, I've come around to it like completely, and I just personally, for me at least. I don't see it being too Mario-esque, except for possibly in world design, but it seems like it deviates enough, and it's fresh and very Donkey Kong coded that I think I'm okay with it.
I'm just looking at more of these expressions. These are fantastic.
Personally, I think sometimes, like, I mean, I understand also Jiggy totally agrees with this, and a lot of you guys as well. Like the kind of the edge that Rare went for, like even in DK64, especially like cool. Like,
yeah, there's a distinct vibe there that's definitely different with this one.
I feel like that's still there, but it's just not like he can also be a little more doofy, and Retro's kind of brought him upon being a little doofier. But I feel like most of the expression I'm completely fine with. The tongue one throws me off a little bit, but I've come around to most of it. And I think it's actually got like even a kind of a adorable sort of look to it, but still maintains like the Donkey Kong spirit.
Michael Julius mentions that it really does look like Donkey Kong with a Wild, and I couldn't be happier. Plus, the core mechanics is so perfect for DK2, making strength to terraform. Makes me want Rambi all the more. Yeah, Rambi is perfect for the theme of destructibility. Little Man mentions Big Monkey in 3D finally. Now we need the whole DK crew. Also make bongo controllers for it, please and thanks. You know, that actually works, because like when you use the bongos, it's almost like punching a little bit there.
Nintendo should just make them like work, or just go ahead and, now that we have GameCube NSO, go ahead and release like I guess if it's worth it, I doubt it would be, but do a re-release of the bongos and make it like applicable to Donkey Kong Bonanza. That'd be cool.
They did it. They did patent the bongos in 2018. Probably when it's in development.
Would that not be for the potentially for the theme park, maybe?
No, it was the GameCube bongos. Like actually, it showed like them plugged in, like the plug and everything.
Huh. I guess they could bring them back in some way.
Dice Plays.
Dice Plays mentions this could have been a Mario game. Glad it's not personally. Then thumbs up from Miyamoto. Yeah, it's like, it does have those Mario Odyssey vibes, but again, it's still really feeling like they're doing something that feels still very DK-esque. You want to go over Chris's answer there?
Sure. And I want to say he and a few other people, they're like big Mario fans over DK fans, so I can somewhat understand that sentiment. But let DK have his time in the spotlight, shall we? Like, Mario's right there. He's right behind him, I swear.
I really like Gothic's meme about that, where it showed like Mario was like, "You stole my only 3D platformer. Now I'm gonna starve."
To bring up Gothic's his memes and stuff. Lately, if you go to Blue Sky or other platforms, he's released a hilarious one with some like voice clips with like, it's the SpongeBob. I believe it was like, "Hey, Oddrock, like, yeah." It's like, doesn't this map look familiar? It's like, "You mean that it's the Northern Hemisphere?" And then K-Roll comes up, he's like, "Do you think this is a problem?" It's fantastic.
I almost had them do their eye popping, because they do the eye popping when they look at the map, but then I realized Oddrock may not be able to do that. If Diddy was there, he'd be doing it with Donkey Kong looking at the map, like they do in like the Smash trailer and the old Rare DK games.
Bust through the windows. But anyway, yeah, I just had to mention that. So Chris Bodker said in his answer here on Twitter, "I thought it was platonic briefly." So he's one of the ones that thought it was like Banjo-esque. The eyes on stuff really had that Yuka Banjo vibes. What I hope to see in the future, the ability to buy and play it somehow, because right now Switch 2 plus Donkey Kong is looking pretty pricey.
Yes, I mean they're still like, and yeah, like I still think that the Switch itself is reasonably priced and stuff. It's like we're still talking $500 plus, like if you're getting like the Mario Kart bundle, like for example, it's like that's still a hefty amount, or like $420 if you're getting the just like say like even just the Switch alone plus DK Bonanza. That's $520 right there. Warden simply posted the clip of Oogway saying "monkey."
In terms of the pricing thing, like Funky Kong said it best in Tropical Free Switch. Hey man, I like video games too, but sometimes you gotta spend your coins on more important stuff.
Yeah. To quote the GOAT. But yeah, and continuing on Twitter answers, Daniel said, "Too early to judge. So far the game looks fine, but I hope the game gives a good challenge and that more of Rare's Donkey Kong can be given representation aside from Cranky and the Oh Banana jingle." And to be fair, I think this might have been like before a lot of the Treehouse when I put this question up, but agree, more the better.
Oh yeah, and I think a lot of stuff has been discovered, like for sure, in terms of old Rare references. Whatever says jungle levels, rope swinging, hopefully K. Rool, Kremlings, more animal buddies, Kongs, etc. I'm surprised, that we haven't seen like vine swinging, in like 3D, which sounds cool in and of itself, but there seems to be more emphasis on destruction. But who knows? That could be a mechanic that shows up there.
Yeah, we've had like pseudo 2D like sections. It seems like that are reminiscent to Donkey Kong Country 1, so there's potential for that for sure there. But US Anyman says, "Loved it. I love how fast-paced and expressive it is. I just hope the rest of the Kongs and K. Rool are in it." Which, yep, that's a common answer amongst our audience here. Exalted says, "Kind of hoping we see more playable characters. I'm not wholly down for just playing as DK, but if he ends up being the only character, I'm all for it, I suppose. Would like to see Diddy, Tiny, Chunky, Lanky, and have another turn in the spotlight."
Man, the good old DK64 crew. I mean, like, we'd love to see him back in some way, but well, I guess, I don't know. We'll have to see. But it was cool. It was cool to see Chunky in the new movie. Cool to see Dixie Kong. But I don't know how much Nintendo's going to bring back a lot of these older DK characters, but we'll see.
Hey, like you said, Chunky Kong.
That Viking, a good friend of mine, he actually, we talked about this personally. This is his theory, so I want to give him credit for it. Viking's awesome. And he said, like, maybe it'll be like a post-game thing where you go back to DK Island, how, like, they had the Peach's Castle at the end of Odyssey, and all the Donkey Kong characters will be on DK Island.
Ooh, that sounds great.
That would be really cool. That's a huge rewarding aspect. That would be awesome. We mentioned this a little earlier, and this guy's profile picture is pretty on brand. I think it's like I think it's the Cars universe, maybe that movie Planes I haven't seen, I don't know. But Frank Barrera says, it's looking like or it's like looking at Wreck-It Ralph, which I guess we
Yep,
kind of touched
yep.
upon.
Yep. Totally Wreck-It Ralph.
It's
So,
all the way there for sure.
And you know what? Maybe for the better. Maybe I mean, now that they've removed the overalls, maybe the relationships and that wholesome like Sully
Yes.
with Oddrock, like with like Monsters Inc. the Sully, or like and him mentioning himself, Wreck-It Ralph. Maybe he can form that sort of like wholesome like caretaker-esque like position for himself and have some development over that plot. But hey, I think it'd be pretty cool.
I think that would
TK can't say anything, like he has no voice lines, but just randomly in the game he goes, "I'm gonna wreck it!" Like the very end of the game.
Disney owes them at least that.
Yes. Always remember.
Frank Glace,
Sorry, what?
no, go ahead.
But yeah, Frank Inglis mentions more characters references to not just the Rare Characters DK history, but post-Rare as well. That's an interesting thought. Well, like we haven't even mentioned stuff like Tikis or the Snowmads or anything else from the retro era. You know, which, you know, to be fair, a lot of retro did borrow some of what Rare did, minus like enemies and things like that. But it could be nice to see some little nods here and there.
They said it's a Professor Chops fossil. Like it might be Professor Chops, but nobody knows for sure yet.
That'd be hilarious.
Again, like what's with all this past DK stuff being ancient history?
Yeah, you know, the retro games are such a huge staple part of DK's history. So the people bashing the theme park, I'm like, guys, I don't want anything before or after Retro's era to be forgotten or forsaken for what came before or after it. Like, give us our Screaming Pillars, for goodness sake.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Great Zabari says here, I just hope it retains the identity of the country games in some ways. The other Kongs, Kremlings, the challenging, platforming, the music. I mean, we've heard at least one callback tune from you know, it's like a little tune from DK64. It's not even really a main prominent theme in there. You don't hear it very often, but just even that little tune being in there does give me hope that we'll hear a good amount from like Kurt Cobe, David Wise, Cynthia, I forgot her last name, but it's just all their compositions. Captain K. Rool from Guri here. That would be cool.
I think a lot of like what Evelyn Fisher,
yes,
and David Wise did with like especially and Grant Kirkhope with like the mines and like the underground, and I think there's a lot of like application music wise for this game here. And I don't know if we saw Guri's answer, but it's just a picture of Captain K. Rool, which what if like K. Rool himself has like not just a standard appearance but an alter ego, like he's a golden idol himself, like he got after the end of Donkey Kong 64 when he got launched by Clumsy, he landed in like somewhere deep underground and like got, you know, fossilized, but then like turned into a golden idol himself, and that's why the crocodiles are golden. Like, I don't know, just some thoughts I've had about that.
Plot takes place.
Banjo and Smash trailer.
If the plot takes place after DK64, I like that will just send this game over the moon.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think like there's potential for like maybe like Prospector K. Rool or something like.
Seriously.
But
Something
that'd be
goofy.
sick.
Oh, yeah, mine is K. Rool. Like the Cranky Kong's dialogue more or less refers to K. Rool. I love how the Treehouse segment blatantly is like, oh, let's not listen to this. Let's go on to the next segment. Like, what are you hiding, Nintendo? What are you hiding?
Yeah, definitely keeping the plot in the down low.
Don't worry, they'll give us another treehouse for 17 minutes and show us nothing.
And Sneezy's answer here. Oh, go ahead, Gothic.
Oh, sorry, you know, the Treehouse, but that was named after the 1994 campaign for Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, I love that. I love that they stuck with that. But yeah, Sneezy's answer here on Twitter says, just looks like Mario Odyssey with a DK skin, unfortunately. I'm sure it's the same team that worked on it. I'm hoping it's still a lot of fun, though, which it looks similar, but I don't think it's like that similar or really a bad thing. To me, it looks really fun.
It's beautiful.
It just looks like the same engine. It looks like it fundamentally plays totally different. So I don't know.
Or how Bowser played in the post. Spoilers, but
yeah.
I suppose. Yeah,
that was something I thought of too. Which like, the ending of Odyssey is very similar to like the way DK feels. You know, when I saw, and even I thought myself, like I loved Odyssey, but I thought I wish I had more of that. You know, it looks like we are getting more of that.
Yeah. And who knows where Mario's gonna go after we got Wonder? I feel like sky's the limit.
Guys,
it looked like a mysteriously Bowser-related chest.
It did.
I just saw the footage.
Guys,
talking about Bowser and that popped up.
We've gotten to the end, guys. We've gone through all like close to 80 of your responses. We can't thank you guys enough for just giving us all your answers, all your feedback, all your takes. This has been great, and we did want to mention a few things. It was just over a year ago now that me and RareWarington started these collaborations, and we can't thank you all enough for the support that started over on the Nostalgic channel, and then over here now on the new Kooky Crew channel. We just love the natural growth of this series and this content, and we got more stuff coming, including a discussion of the Game On Expo and some other surprises that we're really excited to share with you. And again, big thanks to our guests, Gothic Teddy Bear and Jiggy Lookback. Again, check out their stuff over in their channels over in the description. Feel free to join the Kooky Crew Discord. If you enjoy the stream, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel for all of our future content there. I want to wrap it up here. Gothic, did you have any final closing thoughts before we wrap it up today?
Yes, and I'll make sure it's brief and such, but like I want to thank you very much for having me on the show once again, and I'm sorry if I had bunched in too much and cut too many people off, since I meant no intention of doing so. But yeah, no, it's so fantastic that after 11 years, not only does Donkey Kong get a new game, but the game that I've been tracking, because I remember in 2019 saying EPD Tokyo Donkey Kong, and people are like, yeah, okay, the 3D Mario game, that makes no sense, which is due to a lot of Nintendo fans, not like a lot of the general Nintendo fans, I feel like, have recency bias. Like, this is the way Nintendo do things. That's how it always has to be. And but that's not the case, because Nintendo, for better or worse, will pull the rug and surprise us all.
Yeah, and Gothic's usually, I want to say this, I want to call him out finally. You are always seemingly one step ahead of like Platonic Nintendo when it's referring to like anything with ukulele or Donkey Kong. And this guy has been teasing us with things. I won't mention all of them. Replayly is one. Where like we get some information beforehand that this guy doesn't take the clout route, but he knows some stuff in the industry, and like we definitely picked the right two guests to have on today, guys. Like, really appreciate it.
And Jiggy, do you have any last thoughts there?
Yeah, I would say that if I had to highlight, other things aside from obviously Mario Kart World and DK Bananza were probably the two standout games. But we're still getting Metroid Prime 4. We're getting a new Hyrule Warriors. That looked pretty cool. There's a lot of third-party support coming in. That Daemon X Machina game looked really cool to me. I'm looking forward to having a pretty solid launch window with the Switch 2. And aside from the, struggles of games being priced relatively high, just across the board, I think there's a lot to look forward to, and these are just two games we really honed in on, but there's so much more coming, and I'm probably going to end up replaying Tears of the Kingdom as well. So I'm just super pumped for the Switch 2, and I think it's going to be great.
And yeah,
I totally agree.
And best of luck to you, Sam, with your future endeavors to try to snag the Switch 2 so we can like all be able to grab that. And sorry, I don't think it hurt. Were you able to get one there at Gothic? Is secure pre-order?
I've not actually pre-ordered one, but I probably should have, but like money's a little tight at the moment, but I probably will closer to Bananza. Like, obviously there's no sense of pre-ordering because it'll be a month out that the system comes out, but I guess I just wasn't in a huge rush to get it. But again, I think like Nintendo, I underestimated it.
Oh yeah.
And thanks for the luck. I mean, like, I'm glad like you and Jiggy were able to get one, as I said before stream. It was definitely a rough pre-order sort of process, but after, a year now, like Drew said, of like collaborating together, I think even if I can't get one right at launch, we'll come up with a way to sort of like talk about the content and things like that. But I'm still kind of betting on the whole registry system with Nintendo and pre-ordering from them. Been some kind of wary news regarding that and like the supply and demand, but I'm really, really hoping that I could make that happen for me. So definitely like keep me in your thoughts and prayers, fellas. But I guess I'll wrap it up here then. So from our guests here and me, Drew, and the Kooky Crew, we just want to thank you guys for joining us. We will be having more content like Drew talked about here in the near future. We still have a Game On video in the works. And yeah, a lot of exciting stuff going on right now. And thanks again, guys, for joining us. You guys were like the perfect guests, man.
It was a lot of fun.
Hey, this has been fantastic.
No, with the last thing, Sir Sandwich mentions the Nintendo pre-orders. Oh yeah, we're going to keep an eye on that. But yeah, have a good night, everyone, and you all have an excellent day. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.
Hey,
Oi.